Welcome everybody to our very first day of the group stages here in Montreal for the Six Invitational 2020. It's been a long year of waiting, and I feel like it's Christmas morning, Michael, as we're going to be opening all of our presents that are the matches before us. We've got 4 of them here on this channel. We've also got the main channel that you're used to watching, Stream A on Rainbow Six, and you can very conveniently multi-twitch it and watch both of them at the same time. My name is Intero, this is Kickstar.
Hello.
And we are here for the 4th annual Six Invitational.
I can't believe it's been 4 already. It's such a strange sensation, and it's great to be doing yet another one of these.
You've done all 4 of them as a commentator. I've done 3 of them. I wasn't even in the ecosystem for the very first Six Invitational, so we've come a long way.
Better late than never, Parker.
Better late than never. And I always say this as a Canadian, and at the time the first Canadian caster, it gives me just this really warm feeling being here on my native soil, just to be able to take in these matches. But you're probably wondering, what is the Six Invitational? What teams are going to be playing? Well, we've got some handy-dandy graphics for you. We'll be starting off with our participants. 16 teams have poured blood, sweat, and tears for various ways into getting into the Six Invitational, and we have the 4 groups in front of you.
Yeah, and obviously we're not going to dwell too much on these groups. There's been a lot of discussion already leading up to this event, and I'm sure you've heard some from each of those little discussions, whether it be pertaining to Group A and B, which are considered to be really intensely competitive groups. Group C, which is, you know, a good chunk of the Latin American region, and then Group D, which is a a wild batch of unknown.
Yeah, you could say it's a real wild card.
You could say that. I was trying not to.
You've got a mix of teams in here. So you've got one team, Team Empire, that qualified by winning the Raleigh Major, the 6 Major, last year in August. Then you had all the teams that came in through Tokonami, the 8 teams that qualified by being top 2 in their respective regions in Pro League. You had the winner of DreamHack Montreal coming in. That was TSM. They actually qualified 2nd for the event. You had the team that managed to win OGA Pit. That's Team Liquid. They came in as well. You had G2 coming in as your invite, and then you had the qualifiers from every single region, which we saw Fnatic, it saw Space Station, it saw BDS, and it saw MIBR as the 4 teams that really went down to the wire to get on in. And then, as you can see, all the teams in front of you, those will be the 16 teams that will be competing in the group stages over the next 3 days. Stage 2, which is the first time we're going to be doing this, and then on stage for the actual Six Invitational next weekend, as there is a lower bracket for the first time. This is a double elimination tournament.
Yeah, so there's a lot of different layers of safety net. When you have the group stages where you get your second chance, and then you've got your loser bracket in the main event, that's going to make things pretty competitive. But we've got a schedule here for you guys, and this will be what we're going to be showing you today. On your left, you see Rainbow Six Bravo. That's this stream, the one you're watching right now. And on your right, there's the main stream, Rainbow Six. And we'll be having these matches play out through the day. Here, of course, starting off with Rogue TSM, then Wildcard BDS, Dark Zero versus FaZe, and then Ninjas in Pajamas versus Team Liquid to end the day.
Of course, over on the main channel, you've got Na'Vi versus Space Station, Reciprocity versus G2, Empire versus Fnatic, and Giants going up against MIBR as the final match of the day. Now, if you're wondering, yes, you can watch both of these at the same time. There is this beautiful feature called, well, first and foremost, it's called 2 browsers, or 2 tabs, or a phone and a tablet, or 2 televisions, or more. Depending on how many televisions you have, you can own as many televisions as you'd like. However, there is also multi-twitch, so you can watch both of them at the same time if you'd like. Kix and I will be camped out here on the Bravo stream for the entirety of the day. Ace and Dezichu will be making their Pro League debut and their professional debut outside of the minors on the main channel on Rainbow Six, and then you'll have Blue and Stokes floating between. But we'll start off with the team's videos because, you know, we don't want to hold you from Rogue versus TSM.
My name is Lucas Swingman. I am 20 years old. I'm playing for Rogue, and my role is somewhat of a support role / flex role, depending on what map we play. I am Merc. I play for TSM, and my role is entry. So my path to the Six Invitational started quite easy, I'd say, compared to the other paths, as we have qualified over the Japan finals. So we were second, and we became second in Pro League. Due to that, we qualified to Japan. And due to, well, qualifying in Japan, you qualified to the Six Invitationals as well.
Our path to get to the Rainbow Six Invitational, we had to play Liquid, BDS, Rec, FaZe, and Sonics at a DreamHack in Montreal that we ended up winning a couple months back, and we were the second team to qualify for Invite.
So recently we changed the player. After Japan, we decided to part ways with Alphama, who was our main support player at that time, and we've decided to pick up Rips, a player that me and Aces have played with before. That change mostly happened due to our, well, bad result in Japan, and we wanted something of a back pillar to our mental attitude at a LAN event.
There hasn't been any changes with roles and stuff. Our team's current state, I'm feeling very confident coming into this that we can win the whole thing because we are doing very well in Pro League and everything just feels great right now.
I'd say our team's current state is pretty good. We are first in Pro League, we haven't had a loss. We had 3 draws though, which were quite bad because we gave those wins away. So we could have been way higher than we are right now. But well, you learn from mistakes, and I think we have a pretty solid lineup, and well, we're here to prove ourselves. So our competitors in our group are TSM, Space Station Gaming, and Navi, which is quite a hard group if you look at it, because we have 2 American teams, one of them being in the first seed and unbeaten as well, like us. Then you have SSG, a team which we have struggled a lot against if we play them, and a solid LAN team as well. And then you have Navi, a European team, which we haven't yet lost to, but which has won the last Pro League finals. So it is quite a tough group, I'd say.
Who are our competitors? No one, to be honest. We just have to play our own game.
I think the Navi against SSG matchup is going to be quite interesting. But to be quite honest, if Navi doesn't have a good individual performance, I think SSG is going to take it 2-0 due to them just countering Navi's playstyle perfectly and due to them just being the stronger LAN team, in my opinion.
I think the SSG versus Navi matchup will be a good matchup because they both kind of counter each other's playstyles. So it'll be fun to watch.
Obviously, Aces is always a player to watch from our team. I'd say otherwise you have Citizen from Navi, you have Merc from TSM, who's a standout player, and SSG overall is a solid team. All of their players are equally solid in my opinion. You have Rampy, who sometimes pops off, but besides that, I'd say Rampy from that team.
Our first matchup is against Rogue.
Our first matchup at the Six Invitational is against TSM, and I'm pretty excited to play them. Do you have a message for our opponents? I think our opponents, well, if we don't know what we are doing, they don't know what we are doing, so it's going to be interesting. It's going to be fun.
My message to our opponents is good luck.
And as you can hear from those interviews, Merc is, he lets the talking happen on the battlefield. I'm surprised that he ended that interview with a good luck and not a good luck and good night.
Yeah.
But I'm sure he'll be saving that.
I imagine he's probably going to have his chat off, actually. But well, let's take a look at the roster. Let's see what TSM has going into this, or actually Rogue first, as it turns out. Aces, Rise, Rips, Corey, and Hicks on the Rogue roster here. And we'll get to their video later, of course. But this is a pretty strong roster coming into this tournament. Rogue has seen themselves perform really well in Pro League, actually, through this. And as Corey said, undefeated. They have been having a pretty good streak so far.
This is going to be the matchup with the 2 highest frag getters in all of Pro League. Merc and Aces, last I checked, were 1 and 2 in the most amount of kills. So you've got a battle of the Titans going on right now, but not to be overshadowed. You also had Rise on that roster with a very deceptively high number of kills. The changes that this team made by shifting around their roles, moving Alphama onto the bench, and then eventually literally exporting him across the ocean to another continent, and then picking up Rips, Corey going on to hard support. It has allowed players like Rise to flourish and allow Rips to really come in and have lots of space to do what he does best. It went from a majority French roster to a majority German roster, and, well, they ended the first split of Season 11 first overall, better than Empire. They're going to have their hands full, though, because their opponents are TSM. This is the team that sits atop North America. So not only do you have Merc versus Aces. Literally 88 kills to 87 kills. Merc edging Aces out by one single kill. Not only do you have two of the best fraggers in all of Pro League going head-to-head, but you have the best team in North America versus the best team in Europe. And it's not just Merc. He's got a supporting cast of Geo Achieved, Bolo, and Pojo Man.
Yeah.
This whole team has been red hot so far since DreamHack Montreal.
I think that's been the discussion for TSM leading into this event. Yeah, it's definitely that they look really strong. And a lot of people are speculating, of course, you know, there's not as much proving when it comes to the this kind of a scale of land for TSM with this roster that they have. But I think the expectations are pretty high, especially considering, I mean, if you look at the players on TSM's roster, there's not a lack of experience here in the past and previous rosters. I mean, Geo especially is bringing in quite a lot for this team. I imagine he's going to be helping them a lot with their experience on land. You can see him right now, jovial and trying to keep his team focused on the match.
Key part of their success is their new coach, Flybagel. You can see him in the background. He received some praise from Pojo Man in an interview that happened a couple weeks ago. And it's really hard to, I think, for the average person to understand what Geo adds to this roster. Not only does he add, obviously, a great jawline and an impressive beard, which I will say is very, very slowly working its way up the tier list in all of Pro League, but he brings a calmness, he brings an experience to this team, and he allows people like Merc to be a better player. On the other side, having a stronger support allows somebody like Aces to be a better player, because those kills, as you can see, 88 to 84, not 87. I thought it was 87. I was wrong. 88 to 84. These are huge numbers. In 7 games, these players have 88 kills and 84 kills, respectively. And I know we harp on the casual viewer that kills are not the be-all and the end-all of Rainbow Six, but for these players, they are.
Yeah.
For these players, their job is to rack up kills on the scoreboard and destroy the opposition in terms of mechanical skill and in gunfight, and they've been doing an exemplary job.
So the tricky bit about being a fragger like Merc or Aces in Pro League or in high-level Siege competition is that you really truly need to be the best. You do need to stand apart from everyone else at having those stats that just speak for themselves. You said it yourself earlier, Merc leaves a lot of his talking for what happens in-game, and I think that his stats really highlight that. We're going to go ahead and go through the ban phase. We'll find out where we're actually going to be playing. So you can see it's ban, pick, ban, and then Decider here for the ban phase. TSM has decided to pick Kafe. Rogue will bring us to Consulate, and then our final map will be Clubhouse on that Decider.
Yeah, it's a little bit different with a best of 3, and that's okay because not everybody is familiarized with it. With this being the biggest event of the year, you might be tuning in for the very first time wondering exactly how it works in a best of 1 series. It is banning all the way to the very final map. In this instance, there are some mind games going on because you only get to ban 1 map. So if you're a team that has a limited map pool, let's say, you know, everybody loves to talk about Empire. Empire always bans Villa no matter what. And because they get a ban right off the hop, they know that they never need to play Villa, which means that they can reduce their map pool to 6. Now, obviously this changes. If you make it to the grand finals of the Six Invitational, it's a best of 5. So you still get 1 ban, but that's it. With no further ado, let's get things underway. And there's going to be some really nice things that you're going to see in this game because, well, Ubisoft have made a couple changes to the spectating experience, and I think you are going to be as overjoyed as we are with what is going to be debuted.
Let's not spoil it. Let's just wait till you actually get in-game. It's going to be so exciting. You probably love it just as much as we do.
I am absolutely pumped.
I can't wait. It's going to be my very first match casted with this new setup. Now, Capital, the first ban right out the gate here. That's gotten rid of by Rogue as they start on defense. Both teams did pick defense, so for those of you who don't know, if you pick a map, then the other team gets to pick the starting side. So Rogue got to pick defense here on map number 1. TSM also picked defense when we get to Consulate for map number 2. Thermite banned as the second. So that's a hard destructor gone. Means Thatcher's going to be still in play. That's big. Goyo gotten rid of by TSM. They're wary of potential pocket strategies on that Goyo being brought out from Rogue. Goyo is an operator that's been shrouded in mystery for a lot of teams and one that's been put in the back for some, in the front for others in terms of priority. And here he finds himself so high in the front that he's gotten rid of. Mira, the typical defensive ban, it would be weird to see a Kafe with her unbanned.
there are a lot of people that were speculating that we would see an abundance of Zofia and Goyo play. It is worth noting that we are playing on the current patch that is in the game, which means that Maestro does not have an ACOG. The ADS time is slower than it was over the previous seasons. It's been reverted to where it was all the way back in, what was it, just before Ember Rise.
Yeah.
So, yeah, there's changes, and we're going to see how that functions. Not surprised. We are right now in the thick of a Mute and Mozzie meta, so expect to see them a lot, especially on a map like Kafe. Lots of narrow entry points, lots of choke points where these two operators will flourish. And Michael, I'm so excited for it.
Here it is.
There it is.
Oh,
a new UI system.
We can see their entire names, and it's got an extended view, which gives us even more detail into the utility that these operators possess, the ammunition that they have, the drone economy. Take a look at the drone economy on the left side there. You can see the drone icon, and then you can see those two little dots. Now, the white dot means that there is a drone in his pocket. The gray dot means there is a drone deployed, and you'll see it be an X when a drone gets destroyed. So now we can more closely follow that drone economy throughout the entire round, whether we have detailed or simple view.
Speaking of detailed, we are able to, this is controlled by the spectator, we are able to expand and blow it up on your screen so you can see everything perfectly visualized. Hicks has one remaining Valkyrie camera. Rips has 0 Evil Eyes left in his pocket. Aces still has 1 Mute Jammer. This was information that was buried. It is now fully available. And yes, from what I understand, at some point this will be making it off of just LAN and will be moving into online as well for any person that runs a custom match to use this.
Super exciting stuff, and of course, it's going to take us some while to get used to the detailed view. I think a lot of people are going to be intimidated by it at first. Totally understand, but we'll all get used to it together. All right, so starting this round off.
I'm sorry. This is something I've wanted. I've wanted this for years, and it was just like.
Yeah, we've been waiting.
I had actually forgotten that this was coming, and then we did like the run through yesterday, and I was like, oh my god.
Yeah, no, it was the same thing. I got to the event, and I was like, oh, that's right. We're doing it now.
The kids call it a Pog Champ, is what I hear, is what I'm told.
Absolutely.
I went to the store actually yesterday, and I bought a book that was called. It was called Emotes for Seniors. So, very first kill is going to be Rise. He's going to take down Bolo. Goodbye, Bolo. Everybody asks, when's Bolo play? Well, in this round, I think you got the answer.
Yeah, he's going to have to wait a little bit.
Yeah, he's not going to be playing again, so sorry.
That's
sorry if you love Bolo.
Big kill there, as Zofia has an abundance of utility to assist in entry, especially by piano. And that's the big thing. TSM doesn't just not have piano control, they also don't have cigar control. Yeah. This is a really slow take from TSM, and Rogue is pretty much set up a stone wall.
There's another kill for Rogue coming out as they seem to hold well on defense here in Kafe, and it's a run out from Corey. Takes down Merc, but Merc gets the last laugh. As from the grave, the Claymore will do its job so effectively. Well, it's going to be tough for TSM on a very defender-sided map such as Kafe, knowing that you've got a Mira and a Goyo off the board. Goyo might not be the most pivotal operator, but it will allow a Maestro and an Echo. It'll still allow Kaid to get played. You're still going to have to deal with that headache that is Mute and Mozzie. So with that said, I don't know, with only a minute left, exactly what's going to happen here for TSM. They don't have a ton of utility. Geo is going to be an anti-flank operator, and then you've got Soft Destruction for the Buck, but he's going to be playing on that third floor, not going below. It's going to be a frag fest for Geo and Achieved.
Speaking of frags, none left for Achieved to try and get rid of some players playing by the cigar room. He's going to have to entry just with his gun. Geo comes to assist, but also no flashes on Geo, and as Aces gets his second kill onto Achieved, it's just Geo in a 1v3 as he gets one. Player by Pixel Spot. Only 20 seconds to find 3 players for Geo. He's got limited ammo in this rifle with 20 bullets or so. He's made it all the way into the main bar, and he gets a nice shot onto Rise. This is actually possible if Geo lands his shots, but he's missed some important ones there. Knows where the Maestro is. Oh, just not enough bullets. Rogue will take round number 1, and Rips will get the final kill. Beautiful try there from Geo, but like I said, not enough ammunition on that ARX.
Yeah, really tough spot to be in with the ARX, and when you look at an operator like Nomad, the way that she's used is you're going to get those air jabs down early. You're going to be in a position where at that point you get to frag, but overall your focus as a Nomad is do your job. Air jabs likely go down early on a map like Kafe. There's lots of run out opportunities. Those air jabs don't work if your feet are not on the ground, so if you're jumping out of the third story windows, you don't have to worry about an air jab affecting you until you hit the floor. In Corey's case, it wasn't an air jab he had to worry about. It was a Claymore. So with the Nomad, how do you use it? Well, on the 3rd floor, you can apply those air jabs on the narrow doorways. It works both ways. You have a Mutant Amazi who are able to shut down information gathering via those Mute Jammers, via those pests, so on and so forth. The air jabs are also able to shut down rotates because you don't have the luxury of being able to go through rotate holes the same way you do on certain other maps. You don't have the luxury of a double door where, you know, you might be able to play around an air jab or have an impact in your pocket and destroy the attacker's utility. So in that case, what happens if you're Geo? You just got to go for frags, and especially when you're down, losing arguably your 3 most important operators in TSM's arsenal early. It put both Achieved and Geo in a tough spot. Really well played by Rogue, but once again, it's a bar cocktail defense. You expect the defenders to win that. Things could have gone real sideways there for Rogue if they weren't able to pull through.
TSM now gonna have to clear in through Bakery. Looks like it is gonna be a hold of Bakery for Rogue. Drone economy not too hurt so far. Of course, these players very careful with their drones. Again, that gray circle being a deploy drone, white circle being a drone in the pocket. Important to keep note of that. We've got standard lineup here from Rogue, nothing too amazing. The big thing that's to note here is, again, that Thatcher being unbanned. So the reason that Thatcher being unbanned is huge is because you're going to be able to chew through things like pests from the Mozzie, like the Mute Jammers, like we saw in the last round, or even Corey's Prismas, including those Legion traps, but not the case in this particular round. Actually, Merc's been down. He's been downed by I believe he might have been down by the Legion trap.
I don't know how he's taken so much damage already. Achieved will find one. They're not expecting Aces to be up as far as he is. It's gonna have to be very wary too for him traded off by Pojo Man, as that hatch above is his undoing. But still, the play by the Legion obviously forces a frantic scramble from TSM. Corey is there as well, and he engulfs Pojo Man after losing a drone. The hard support is gone. Bolo and Geo now going up against the wall that is Rogue.
There's plenty of utility on these last 2 TSM players to actually leverage advantage from the control they have upstairs, but they don't have Diffuser, which is a pretty big hurdle that they're going to have to jump over. And of course, the man count disadvantage is going to be detrimental. I think that's really what we're going to see be the end of this round. So what happened there? Well, TSM droned the top floor really poorly. They didn't check the entirety of the main bar. Aces, with an aggressive play, picked up 2, and at that point, round just about over. That's really tricky when you see stuff like that happen. TSM needs to be just slightly slower in their clear, know what they have cleared, not assume what they have cleared, and then, you know, take as a team. But we didn't get to see that in this round. Hopefully for TSM's sake and all their fans, they correct that in the future rounds.
At this point, with only 40 seconds left on the clock, barring some very incredible heroics from 2 talented players on TSM's side, there's not going to be much here for Rogue to throw away. And of course, with Rogue, you look at it, they're going to likely have a C4 in Hicks's hands. You've still got the toxic canisters from Rip's hands. This is going to be a fool's errand for TSM as they just run headfirst into the remaining defenders. Ooh. Utility dump from Bolo. He sees an alibi clone. It's not a live target, so doesn't give himself away. He actually misses the shot. Corey doesn't, though. Geo's in again, but is it going to just be a whirlwind of impactless frags like the previous round? Yes, it will be. He gets 1 before he gets dragged down by Rise, and it's 2 in a row for Rogue.
Yeah, Rogue putting up some pretty impressive rounds so far, but it's only the start. This is, of course, a best of 3, and we're just here beginning map number 1. If you're just joining us, there's still plenty of match yet to go. Well, this is a defender-sided map. Kafe, I think, statistically is pretty extremely defender-sided, actually. It's up there at around almost 60.
I think it's like the 2nd most defender-sided after Villa.
So it's important to note that right now, we do see Rogue heavily favored by their side. And you should take every single one of these rounds with that particular flavor of salt. Reading Room, Fireplace, the next defense for Rogue. See if they can get the perfect cycle. That is to say, winning 3 rounds in a row on defense. Because that would be going to all of the 3 that you're required to go to. If you are not familiar with Siege, the way that it works is basically just you have to defend 3 different bomb sites if you're winning all of them. So you win bomb site number 1, well, you have to go to a different one. You win bomb site number 2, you still can't go back to bomb site number 1, so you have to pick a 3rd. So when you win 3 in a row on defense, it's called a perfect cycle because you won everywhere that you had to go and thus you do not leave many gaps in your defense. Now, it'll be a top floor roam, of course, from Rogue, as this is a reading defense. Typically, the way that you'll defend this as a defensive squad is you will just hold upstairs for, at the minimum, 1 minute 30 seconds. Though you can change that, and the IGL can change that based on what they think about the enemy team, the attackers. If you think the attack is especially slow, then you might fall back earlier. You might be like, yeah, they're just going to be slow themselves. We don't need to linger upstairs. We don't need to take that risk and fall back as quick as you can. But if you feel like the enemy team, the attackers, are going to be swift on their clear, then maybe you need to hold out to that 1 minute 30. Or in fact, maybe you won't have an opportunity to fall back and you'll have to leave your roamers upstairs. Whatever the case be, general fallback time for a top full roam on a reading defense is about 1 minute 30.
Yeah. Anywho. Complete the cycle on reading. This is likely where things will need to break for TSM. If they cannot catch a break on this particular round, they are going to be in trouble for the remainder of the defense, because it's been a stomp for Rogue through these 2 rounds. There really has been very little. That first round got close largely because of those impactless frags from Geo, knowing how little time was left in an almost unwinnable situation, and there's Rogue getting the opening pick yet again. Well played for them. So 3 rounds in a row, they've been able to start this off and knock TSM onto their heels early. Once again, for Rogue, every single encounter has come on that 3rd floor. This is very commonplace for a map that has as much verticality as Kafe does. You realize that you have to clear from the top down like most teams will do. If you're TSM, are you just running head first into this defense on the 3rd floor? Are you not droning effectively? Well, the answer to that question lies in 2 operators for Rogue. Once again, Mute and Mozzie do an excellent job at keeping information away from the attackers. Not only are they losing Bolo and Geo, so 2 members are gone for TSM. Their drones are gone. You can see all 6 drones are in use somewhere on the map for TSM, but how many of those are sitting in spawn? How many of those are actually usable? That is the real question.
So, still roaming upstairs. Chief is making his way into back bar storage. He's going to be pushing up on the main bar. No actual hold here. You can see the defenders from below are actually trying to hold that back bar storage door for the roamers that are still upstairs. Nade goes in, the Maestro moves as he saw it on the Evil Eye. Still a player at the top of white stairs to try and pressure the hallway that is preventing Merc from pushing forward. Achieved is actually going to have to fall back. Tear of a C4 will be heard and dodged. TSM still with 2 men down, and not really much to show for it. Rogue holding the top floor still throughout the entirety of this round. They don't seem to want to fall back.
Have TSM gotten the call, rather, that dining hall is opened up because they could walk right in. Now, yes, you've lost a lot of the walls, and you will not have the exact protection that you need. There's somebody playing from Rogue on white stairs. Pojo just narrowly missing 1 member lie down prone, but no, he wins the fight. Aces wins his own. Down goes Pojo Man 2 for the Valkyrie as he retreats to white stairs just to hold that opening, knowing that for Merc, he's going to need to fetch that diffuser. It's in the Lion's Den, and there's 3 hungry members of Rogue. Can he tame them? No, he can't. Rips will shut him down, and Rogue, they're up 3-0 now.
An impressive performance so far from Rogue. To be honest, their aggression on defense is going unanswered by TSM. Almost every one of these engagements are going the way of Rogue. That is a really difficult spot to find yourself in. And yeah, of course, it is Kafe defense, and that is the favored side. But at the same time, we were seeing just narrowly won fights from Rogue, but continuously. For example, that fight at the very beginning of the round, where we saw, I believe it was Rise kill Bolo right at the start. That was actually, really difficult to see, because it's actually the second time that's happened where Rise will kill Bolo for the opening kill. That happened in the first round as well. Now, we haven't seen a lot of adaptation from TSM so far through this match, but they are going to change one thing here. They've moved Merc onto IQ off of Thatcher, which is quite interesting. Thatcher is still very useful, but IQ being favored, it seems that the Valkyrie Cam marks have been annoying TSM through these rounds. I'm really curious how they're going to deal with the Mute Jammers and Mozzie Pests, though, now that they don't have a Thatcher. That's going to slow them down in a different way. Not to mention the Evil Eyes, which of course have been a really big problem for TSM, as we saw in that last round.
attackers are moving out to locate.
While we have your attention here, and while we get into round number 4 with Rogue very firmly in control of this matchup, the one thing that we do want to mention is that at the present moment, the current prize pool for the Six Invitational is sitting at $2.5 million. And if you want to help us push to $3 million, there's a number of ways that you can do that. We need the community's help and the community to rally around the esports program and the celebration that is the Six Invitational. There's a number of ways that you are able to do that. As it's going on right now, there is the Road to Six Invitational. There's a battle pass where 30% of all proceeds will be returned to the esports prize pool, very similar to what we see from the pilot program skins. And with the battle pass, you also get access to the skin that is being run by many operators here. It's the last tier of the premium battle pass. So you have an opportunity to put your money where your mouth is, quite literally, as people say that they want crowdfunding, they want prize pools, they want bigger events, bigger winnings, etc. You have an opportunity to help every single player that's competing here now, and you can do that. We have until next week or so. So if you want to help out this community, you want to help out these teams, it's much appreciated.
Yeah, it's just a quick reminder, this is a really long event.
Yes.
So there's going to be a lot of Siege competition. And just like in the group stages, as we mentioned earlier, just like in the group stages, how you have a second chance. You lose your map number 1, or your match number 1, well, you could still come back. It's going to be harder, you'll have to win 2 in a row, but you can do it. Just like in the group stages, you will have a second chance in the main event. And I think that's really awesome, having that elimination, or rather that loser bracket, exist in a main event. It's so much more competition, so much more potential comeback storylines for all these teams.
Now, there's a lot that we can talk about over the previous 3 rounds, but not much in round number 4, at least not so far. It's back up the stairs to Bar Cocktail. There's the first kill. It's going to go to Rogue again and again and again and again.
I mean, Aces is just getting aggressive. He doesn't really seem to care very much about his opponent's positioning. He's just going for it. C4 will miss. It would have landed based on the enemy's position had he not hit the door frame. A flurry of kills come out here, and TSM once again find themselves on the back foot, but not as much as they usually do, as this is a 2-on-3. The really deceptive thing here, and the thing you need to keep note on, is that there's only 30 seconds or so left in this round, which means that these 2 players on TSM really don't have much to work with.
Bolo doesn't know if he's about to emerge into a crossfire or not. He's going to need Gio's help. Bolo is a single bullet or 2 away. Almost takes the head off of Gio. He's not getting out of there, though. Aces, what a round for him. Huge play from Aces, getting almost every kill for his team. Rogue right now showing that their experience on LAN is just simply outpacing TSM on Kafe. This is one of TSM's best maps. Let's not try and sugarcoat it for you. This is not just one of their best maps, it is their map pick, and Rogue are making them look like they are mere mortals, something that no team in North America has been able to do so far this season. And it looks like we're going to get a tactical timeout taken from Bagel on the coach as the coach of TSM. Right call to do this. You've got 2 more rounds to try and stitch together a comeback before you swap onto defense. The good news for TSM and the good news for TSM fans is that Kafe is extraordinarily defender-sided. You are not necessarily losing to a better team. You could conceivably just be losing to a map that has innate advantages that come with being a defending squad, but that's speculation on our part. It's still not looking very good for TSM. They have not come particularly close in any single round so far, Michael.
If you're wondering who's who on this lineup, of course, from left to right, it's Gio, Merc, Achieved, Pojoman, and Bolo. This is a TSM roster that, as you said, really has looked super strong in North America. It's surprising to see them struggle so much on one of their preferred maps. Now, of course, if we take a look at their enemy, Rogue is putting up some pretty impressive performance here. The big thing to note for them is that they're playing with almost no, I would say no fear. You can see by the fact that Bagel has put his mic up that the tactical timeout is over, and we will get back into the regular match. Of course, the coach is not able to talk to their players while we're playing in the match. You have to wait for those timeouts for the coach to intervene in what's going on in these rounds. And that's Bagel's last and only chance in this map, but he'll have others in the best of 3 that we have for this match as a whole. Now, while it is currently 4-0 for Rogue, if TSM can get these last 2 rounds in the first half, then they are fine. Honestly, fine. getting 2 rounds on an attacking side of Kafe, that's not bad. I mean, you can recover from it. It's not good.
It's, I would say,
but it's not bad.
Standard. It's
standard.
Expected. If you are emerging as a team, let's I guess quantify this a little bit better, or more specific. If you are a team like TSM, who have a sterling record on Kafe, who are known to be a very strong Kafe team, who are prepped for this, they've obviously banned operators. They banned the Goyo to try and hinder Rogue. It hasn't really affected them that much. We'll see if the Thermite ban hinders Rogue when they switch sides. But if you were a team like TSM on a map like Kafe, and you consider yourself to be one of the best teams in the world, which statistically you are, and you are a favorite among quite a large portion of this community to win the entire event, you need to do better than a 2-4 split on attack on Kafe. You need to be able to keep it close. Not only is the scoreline not close, but the rounds haven't even been close.
No, they haven't. TSM often are going for entries and losing fights, and that's the really tricky bit. There's not a whole lot to say about, oh yeah, this guy on TSM, he took a fight, and then he lost it. And then a couple more lost fights for TSM, and suddenly Rogue are winning the round. There's also, I mean, the fact that Rogue are very aggressive. The way that they're playing is just fearless, and that's an example of what I just said. Ryze just peeked over a shield, and Merc's gone, just like that, and just poof, magic. And there's not much other to say than that shouldn't be happening if you're TSM. That's a mistake. ADS has been juggled, so the cleared ADS is not going to be a thing here. Pojoman goes for the rush. He'll try to put pressure onto Prep, but Ryze has already fallen back at this point. So a little bit too late there for TSM.
I don't know if it's just simply the drone work or not of TSM, and it's being shut down masterfully by Rogue. That's something that we really don't have a good perspective on. But right now, just the way it's working is that, well, TSM just looks like they're flying blind into so many of these encounters. You know, every single opening duel has been won by Rogue. That should not be the case.
Yeah.
And it's not just that it's being won, it's that there's been minimal counter punch from TSM. Yes, Ryze has lost quite a bit of HP, but Aces oftentimes isn't losing anything in that opening duel. So, you go to work on the wall now, and TSM will be down probably their best player over the course of the season, their most consistent, and the person that you are going to rely on to kill as many people as possible. Also, the IQ going up against all these intel ops.
Would be useful.
It would be useful, but I don't think it's actually that crucial if you look at the lineup.
Definitely not. EMP comes in here after Buck opens up the soft wall that has been Maverick tricked. You can see Ryze still playing aggressively. He's over there by the kitchen. He's got a decent position if he's not known, and I'm guessing that TSM's not going to drone him out there. And there you go. Yeah, not droned out, but he'll lose the fight regardless. Geo, really important kill there. Aces gets the refrag. Also very important. But Geo with the initial entry, and that's super crucial for TSM.
Ryze loses that fight because of how low HP he had, but traded masterfully by Rogue. Now the Mozzie's in a tough spot, and Hicks is not going to be able to get out alive. Down goes the Alibi clone as Pojo goes for the diffuser. Being planted, very first objective play that we see so far. Maybe this is the round where TSM can straighten up. Pojo's in the middle of the gas, though. It'll actually just do a tiny bit of damage before he worms his way out. A 3v3 with that clock running down. This is a tough spot to be in now for Rogue. Still some utility for TSM. Pojo gets spotted. It's 2 kills, though. 1 for either team. Aces will need to push up. He's going to be in a battle to the death with Bolo. He's got to rotate hole as well. But who's going to win this one? Both members of TSM looking in the same position. Time is running out for Rogue. Down goes Corey. It's Aces in a 1v2. Is he going to be able to do anything with this? He finds one. Time is on his side. He's got only 1 second. Is he going to be able to make it? No, that shouldn't be it.
It's so close,
It's going to come down to the wire, but we have the time at the top. I don't think he's going to get it. No, TSM wins it. Must be defeating. 1 second away Rogue was from being up 5-0. But close only counts in horseshoes and hand grenades, and in this case, it's Rogue losing out on the round.
For those of you who don't know, it's 7 seconds to disable that diffuser, and Aces hit it at about, what, 6.7? Something along those lines? He was darn close, but just not close enough. Rough, but it happens. TSM needed some amount of success. They needed just to feel that they could win rounds, and they got that.
Yeah.
But within a 0.3, 0.2 seconds, that's, oh wow. I don't know if that's going to instill much confidence. That kind of a win there from Aces, him just walking in through Bakery, you can see that TSM is shook. You can see it out on the camera when we panned over to their faces. and displayed their reactions to that. It's definitely a situation where Rogue is just more, I'm seeing them be more relaxed. There's not a whole lot else to say. When it comes to these engagements, TSM is not a team that should be just losing like that. But they're losing a lot of fights that, well, they shouldn't. That's it. That's the end of that story. Those two engagements right at the end that Aces managed to win. One of them, sure. Both of them? No. What? Beautiful shots from Aces, though.
He's on 13 kills through 5 rounds.
Yeah. Absolutely insane. He is having a banger of a match right now. He's actually got 2 3Ks through this match. He had one in round 3 and one in round 4. And he's just been the top performer, period, for this entire match. He's playing so well right now.
He's playing very aggressively, and he's also playing that flex role. Yes, he's been playing Legion, but he's also run through Mute. He's also played Valkyrie 1 round. And watching the way that Rogue is rotating Aces and Rise as the main point of contact for TSM has actually been very interesting, and it's been changing site by site. Sometimes you've got Rise playing very aggressively on that second and first floor bomb sites. Aces is going to be the one tasked with it on that top floor bomb site as well. And because of this, it allows the other one to play a little bit freer. Now with an operator like Jaeger, why is he going to be tricking Kitchen downstairs? As you mentioned, he was juggling the ADSs. Well, because you just see in front of him, there's going to be some utility missed. It's Hicks to get the opening pick. And perfect for Rogue. On defense, they got the opening win, or the opening kill, and won that opening duel every single time. That is massive. Now Achieved is down. You saw how much damage he was able to do with that skeleton key on the wall inside of Kitchen. A utility dump coming in from Pojo Man, and man, this is going to be so challenging. As Rise manages to get one, he's stunned to oblivion and back, but Bolo just goes in and 2 fall from Rogue. And it's TSM now in a 3v3 who have managed to come back. They'll actually take the lead as Mert finds Hicks. A rotate from Rogue does not go according to plan. And for just the second time in this matchup, it's a numbers advantage that favors the North American team.
Merc actually looks like he's going to have to fight somebody else upstairs. There's another roamer coming up the main lobby stairs. That's Aces, who has been winning all of his engagements. Will Merc be able to make it happen? This 1v1, Merc versus Aces, is so important. And it's the sort of 1v1 that we were dreaming about going into this match. It's what we all wanted to see. And Aces kills Bolo, actually, as he rotates downstairs. That was by Small Bakery.
Obviously, call made from Merc as to the position over by Brown stairs of Aces. He loses a ton of HP, but he's still in play right now. He can continue to frag. Yokai spotted by the IQ. Merc takes some damage from a Gumine as he vaults out the window. It's a little worse for wear, but not too bad off.
Well, with Aces on low HP, as you said, it's definitely winnable for TSM, but Aces has just been landing his headshots, so it might not matter, especially considering TSM has to go through these bottlenecks and there's still Yokai drones in play. Merc's trying his best to get the Yokai drones, but it's really difficult in this position. Here's the entry, though. Merc knows where that Legion is as the impact comes by his head, but it doesn't do much damage. In fact, I don't think it did any. There goes one of Yokai drones. That's huge, but only 20 seconds left for TSM to make this entry happen. Merc is locked into this engagement with Aces, and it looks like there's a flank coming in from the Thatcher. There it is, though. Corey and Aces, the last 2 kills, and Rogue will take the final round of the first half. And this is going to be a 5-1.
Smart play from Merc to go on the gadget from IQ. We rarely see that when there's under 30 seconds left in the round. A lot of IQs get distracted, engaging, and they're not able to do their actual job. And when you've got an Echo, or when you've got a Valkyrie, or when you've got possibly Gumines in the final 30 seconds, you know how powerful all of those tools come. If you get an IQ to go on her gadget, you take away one of the biggest benefits that a defender has, which is that information game that they like to stack up on. In this case, things for Rogue could have gone very bad. After that Yokai goes down and Merc is able to remove it, that's one piece of the best tool that you still have from Rogue gone. Corey might be sitting on the other Yokai. He's essentially a non-factor in an engagement because he's going to be too busy giving calls to Aces, who's only on a tiny bit of HP. Now, if there's anybody in this match who's going to be able to pull this off, it's going to be Aces. He's now got 15 kills and 2 deaths. How's that for a pretty reliable KD score heading into the second half?
I mean,
it's played very well by Rogue, if I'm being honest. And honestly, that's been the story so far. Rogue have just been the better team regardless of whether you have an inherent advantage with it being a Kafe defense, who knows? TSM will need to change things around as they now go on to defense. If they can emerge 4-2, that's not good enough. Rogue will win the match on that. So TSM will have to replicate or do better than what we just saw from Rogue to go to overtime, because that's their only win condition at the moment.
Attackers are moving to defuse a bomb.
So, kitchen defense first for TSM, as you have likely seen. It's quite interesting. Most teams start on the top floor. Some will just try to upset by going to raiding first, maybe even mining. Depends on the team. In this case, TSM is feeling confident and comfortable in the kitchen. Now, kitchen is played a little bit different than the other bomb sites. You do roam, yes, but generally it's a more detached roam, less about vertical control and denying vertical destruction, more about distracting and delaying. Of course, there is plenty of vertical destruction that can be utilized by the attack, but it's not as important, I guess, and it's not always utilized by the attacking team. Big thing here, really, and there's not much else to talk about other than TSM need to start getting into these fights and being confident in them, because that's the thing that I'm seeing is lacking. TSM are not looking very confident in their engagements. As Bolo is the opening pick here for Rogue, Rogue will continue their streak of getting that opening kill. They've gotten it every single round now, and they'll even add to it by getting a second onto Achieved. I mean, this is a 5v3, and those roamers easily dispatched by Rogue. There's another one as Corey picks up Pojo Man. Merc and Geo make that just Merc on the roam. Last player for TSM. And pretty much round over, unless Merc does something amazing.
Take a look at the HP. I think that tells a greater story. It's a flawless round, and I think not just a flawless round. Diffuser going down, opening pick, and I believe only roughly 20 to 30 damage committed by TSM. Almost a flawless round, which is the triple crown, which is that you get the diffuser down, you don't take a lick of damage, and you kill all your opponents. In this case, 20 damage, 30 damage done by TSM in that round while the diffuser is going down, full site control lost, and Rogue now essentially have one remaining round to put this map away.
I think it's not really a discussion about how many rounds it takes Rogue to put the map away. I think now we need to shift to the discussion to what about next map? After Kafe, which seems about done now, but I guess it's too early to call it. After Kafe, we have Consulate, which was Rogue's map pick. A quick reminder, this map, Kafe, is TSM's map pick. TSM wanted to go here. The fact that they are now down 1-6 does not bode well.
I want to explain something about this UI here for just a second. So Marcio, if you could keep it up, that would be much appreciated. So on the left-hand side, let's look at Achieved, for example. Or actually, let's go down to Pojo Man. Go down to Pojo Man. Pojo Man has 2 kills. 1 assist, 7 deaths, then the diamond, and it says 1, that's diffuser planted.
Utility.
That's utility. There is no statistic for successful disables, so you're not going to see that, but you can see that Pojo Man 2 kills, 1 death, 2 kills, 1 assist, 7 deaths, 1 diffuser. Because I know that when we were seeing this yesterday, we were a little confused. What does the diamond mean? I think that's a very standard thing to ask. It means diffusers.
Attackers are heading out to defuse a bomb.
That's just for some... The rest is some explanation for you.
The rest of it's pretty self-explanatory. The gun is the gun, and the next that's the ammo count, and you have your utility, which is all represented by an image. So I think you can kind of work that out.
Yes.
Also, a quick correction. I actually said earlier that the white circle is the drone in your pocket. It's actually the opposite. The white circle is the one deployed.
Yes.
Gray circle is the one in your pocket.
So, for example, if you look right now, there has not been a 6th drone that has been thrown. I just say that as Rips just threw his 6th drone. So there are 5 drones on the map right now. No drone has been lost yet by Rogue.
It'll be represented by an X when it is destroyed.
TSM are not taking advantage of the power that you see of an operator combo like Mute Mozzie, especially with it being yet another kitchen defense.
I'm surprised that they go to kitchen yet again. Obviously, TSM are really trying to rethink everything that they're doing. At least I would imagine they are, because, well, nothing's working. The big thing for me is it really just seems like TSM are not confident in gunfights. That's it. I don't really have...
It could be the land shakes, honestly. Keep in mind,
I think it is land shakes.
TSM's only real considerable LAN experience that we saw was at DreamHack Montreal, where there is a belief among teams that, the pressure of an event like that is much smaller than a Pro League Finals, definitely much smaller than the Six Invitational.
This is the most pressure you're ever going to get.
And Rogue is a team that has played, I believe, Rogue has played the most lands, period, over the last, I think it was like last 16 months or 18 months or something like that.
Played a lot of land, yeah. They've got
Rogue
a bunch of
has
experience.
played so much, and their players, before they were even on this Rogue squad, back when it was Lestream, back when it was Giants, they also came where you had Corey and Aces playing in the German League. You had all the other players playing in the French League. Now, Aces, speaking of, he's been absolutely pummeling everybody on TSM. He's going to have to sit out the remaining minute of this round. He gets caught by a C4 just at the doorway into the bomb site of Kitchen.
And I think that's actually the first time that TSM gets the opening pick of a round.
Yes.
So, yeah, I mean, TSM needs that. Bakery wall is opened up here from Rogue. You could see that it was Maverick tricked while we were discussing other things. There's only a minute left here, but that's plenty of time for Rogue still. Hicks will go down to Pojo Man, but a few kills leaves TSM firmly in the lead here, as Rogue are down to the last two, both in Bakery. Ooh, that's some damage done there, but not a down onto Gio, who goes prone, saving his life. Rise with a beautiful shot. Pojo Man goes down, and that's the entry that Rogue needs to get site control. Very little time here for these last two.
Gio's still very low, but Merc is going to be the difference maker. Bolo's on in. He and Merc just need to hang on. They've got full HP. It's a 1v3. TSM are going to keep themselves alive unless Rips, the newest member to Rogue, is able to pull a rabbit out of a hat. Crossfire's established. You just need to pre-fire now. 8 seconds left. Not a lot of time. He's got the diffuser. He's going to have to go for kills. He's not going to be able to get one. TSM will answer back, but you can see from the looks on their faces, not exactly ecstatic about that. They realize how much of a hill they have to climb. They'll pick up their second round through 8, but they're going to sit on match point against Rogue. Like I said, the only win condition for TSM was to force overtime. They had to do to Rogue what Rogue did to them, which was a 5-1 on Kafe. A 4-2, the standard, is not good enough.
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely overtime potential here for TSM. They really just need to build up their confidence. I'm going to keep hammering this because I feel like that's all there is really to say about this match. The way that things are playing out, it is coming down to engagements. There's not an abundance of grand strategy or pocket strats that are coming out or anything really spontaneous or interesting. Most of it's the standard stuff. In that last round, for example, what happened? Rogue came in through Bakery. They tried to clear out the roamers in the main lobby. Their clear didn't go very well. They lost some players in that endeavor. Then they focused all their efforts on just Bakery. After they Maverick tricked the wall, they opened it with the Zofia, and then the engagements started going back and forth. Rogue, already at a man disadvantage, lost the round because TSM kept up their refrags. That's all you really need to do if you're a defender in man advantage position. So good job to TSM. They played the round standard, they won it. That will build their confidence, and that is what TSM needs. If you're a TSM fan, really all you need to hope for is that TSM start getting more opening kills, they start winning more of their heads-up gunfights, and the trades continue to go in their favor. That last round was the only example of a round where I could really say that the trades were going in TSM's favor. So, they're starting late, but better late than never, as we've said today already.
Also worth noting, and we appreciate, by the way, when we tell you these things, that you help each other out. So for example, you see, we explain what the diamond means. If you look at Corey's hut, it's a 0 next to it. That means he hasn't planted the diffuser yet. Help each other. We really appreciate that. But additionally, there's a couple things that you can help us with. First and foremost, you can watch both streams at the same time. Navi from Europe, facing off against the North American team, so a mirror of regions on the usual stream that you watch on Rainbow Six.
Yep.
Being casted by Ace and Dez. SSG and Navi are facing off against each other. You can watch both of those matches right now at the same time. Oh,
wow.
No! You lose both your drones there for Rise. Achieved has been down by a frag grenade from Corey, and you're going to need to get him if you're TSM. They'll pick him back up.
Wow.
He's going to lose a lot of HP, but they'll head off from the site. There's no cocktail defense, so that third floor has been totally neglected from TSM so far.
Yeah, it has. They're going to be going to Reading here, as you can see. And this is generally considered to be not the main site. Corey will get the opening kill here for Rogue. It's going to be them holding all but one, and there's Rise adding to it as Merc goes down. So this could be the final nail in the coffin here, as TSM are looking very, very poor.
I mean, look at Bolo and Achieved's health. That is a really rough spot to be in. Pojo Man is the only person who's going to be able to win a gunfight, especially on land, where you see most often people going down with very limited HP. They might win the fight, but they're not exactly whole. That's the case with TSM right now. They managed one kill, but then down goes Achieve. Pojo needs to get very aggressive. He's gone, and it's all done with the crying. There's another for aces. Bolo fells the German player of Rogue, but it's the Prodigy going up against the Skeleton Key. Map 1 is Rogues. They take it. Utter domination, 7-2 over TSM.
Not really much of a question, to be honest, in that map. It was a pretty clear-cut victory for Rogue. And, well, I mean, they don't look confident. They don't look excited. They just look like it's another day in the office. And we got our map number 1. I really wonder what is going through TSM's heads right now as losing that so definitively.
Good Lord, 17-4, Michael, 4 aces.
Well, he went full fragger at the end there. He picked up Ash. He was like, I don't care. I'm just going to go ahead and go wild with this.
He went buck wild.
Yeah, he did, as so did my hair. And it was a pretty dominant win there for Rogue, but there's still one map at the minimum in this best of 3. Plenty of time for change.
Now, when you look at the results that we see on a map like Kafe, it's a good map for TSM.
Yes.
They have looked like a top-tier team in the world, not just their region. They came in as a favorites to win their group. They're also considered the favorites by many to win the entire event. Now, people might have been rating them a little too high, and it's way too early to write off their chances and say that they're going out in groups or something crazy like that. However, when you look at what just happened on TSM's map, how do you regain that focus for that second map? You're going to Consulate. It's a map that North America plays, sure, but it's also a very, very good map for Rogue, and it's also Rogue's map pick. I don't know how you center yourself after that. If I'm TSM, you're having a mental refresher at this point?
I mean, that's what they need. They need a refresher. TSM needs a break. They're not going to get one, by the way. There's like a brief pause between map 1 and map 2. So the likelihood of a break here is, I mean, yeah, it's just not going to happen. So TSM need to get right back into it. They need to regain some kind of momentum. I say regain. I think that's the wrong word. They need to establish momentum. Because right now what we're seeing is definitely some kind of land shake, some kind of, you know, I guess a little bit of fear. I'm not really sure what it is. Now, the thing I really want to highlight about that is it doesn't mean that TSM is just going to get dominated by Rogue at every single LAN event ever, and that's just how it's going to be. It's nothing like that. It's not. This didn't seem to me like Rogue having TSM's number or outstratting TSM in some grand way or anything like that. To me, what it looked like was TSM was a little bit shaky. That's it. That's all that I saw there. And I'm not going to say that they would win if they weren't shaky, because I don't think that it's that clear cut. But I think that we would have definitely not seen a 7-2, and not one as extreme as that 17-4 for aces. I mean, yeah, he's an amazing player, but that is also TSM letting him go wild.
Yeah. Rogue definitely were on attack. They were a better team as well. We only saw 3 rounds for them to really show their stuff, but 2 of those rounds were just as dominant as their defenses were. And Merc was getting consistently shut down. When you're a team like TSM, they often refer to it as the trident, right? You have Achieved, you have Bolo, you have Merc. Maybe Geo can fill that role if Bolo plays more flex. Then you got Pojo on hard support, right?
So some people have been joking now that they're like the fork with Geo.
The fork, because
yeah.
four tines, if you want to call it that. Not prongs, they're tines. Learn words. Anyway, but when you've got Merc getting consistently shut down, there was almost 0 depth on that team. Achieved played quite well, and so did Geo, but Geo's stats were also padded by those late round death throws, impactless frags, which we can call them.
Yeah.
For those that are unfamiliar with the term, an impactless frag that we refer to it as is when it's like a 1v4 and you kill 3 of them, but then the timer's out, or you kill 2 of them, and you realistically have 0 chance of winning the round.
Yeah.
Because there's only 10 seconds left, or because you don't have any utility, or because you don't have the diffuser. You might be able to pick up a couple kills, which looks great from a KD perspective, but it doesn't actually change the outcome of a round, so there's no real impact of them.
So this is something I'm worried about here. I might be mistaken. This is one of Bagel's first lands, if I'm not wrong. He has
experience with a bunch of European teams, but I don't know if he's ever played at this level.
Like a major land
before,
yeah. Well, okay. The thing that I'm worried about here is I really don't. TSM, what they don't need right now is they don't need to be more pressure. Like, they don't need more pressure on their shoulders. They don't need to get more focus. That's not it.
Yeah.
What they need is to relax. Like, they need to chill. You can clearly tell by the way that they're playing. They just need to take a deep breath and just play their game. I think Merc said it, actually, in the interview. He was talking about, like, yeah, if we play our game, we'll be fine. And Merc's absolutely right.
And they didn't against Rogue. So you can give a lot of credit to the way that Rogue was just simply able to outperform them. Now, coming into this event, Rogue are a team that have consistently underperformed and failed to meet the often heavy expectations that people place on them. Consistently one of the best teams statistically in all of Rainbow Six. They are always in the conversation for best team in Europe. They have had top-tier talent, they can frag well, they can support. There really is no glaring weakness on this team, no Achilles heel if you want to call it that. And the addition of Rips to this roster has shown them to have an even higher ceiling than they previously had. Of course, no discredit to Alfama, talented player, but the changes that were made when Rips came on board seemingly have rejuvenated this squad.
Yeah.
Rogue comes into this still as a team that haven't really ever shown up the way that you expect them to. Now, could this be the turning point? Is this TSM, North America's great hope, as so many people called them? Is this just TSM having a bad day? Is this Rogue finally hitting their stride and silencing the critics, of which we are among those critics, that they can actually show up on LAN? Well, if it's a very quick 2-0 for Rogue, I think you have your answer. We'll load into Consulate for map number 2 between these two teams. Also, I was trying to get this out of the way. We appreciate your help. We are adhering to a fixed schedule. So if Rogue slaughters TSM 7-1 on this map, we have a break until that second matchup that happens later. We are not just loading right into the next matchup. It is not a rolling schedule. That means that if this matchup is done and the next match isn't for 3 hours, it means that you can go mosey on over to the other stream and watch that one if you want. But you have to wait for the next matchup.
Yeah. Now, also, quick reminder, if TSM loses here, they are not out of it yet. It just means that they'll have a tougher road ahead. You get a second chance in these group stages, but only a second chance. You can only lose once. And that'll be the same thing, of course, when you get into the playoffs. So you have a loser bracket, but that still means you can only lose the one time. So, we're going into map number 2. Bans are done. Nomad banned out there by Rogue. They didn't want to deal with the Nomad that they did have to deal with in Kafe. But it's, I think, a much more sensible ban on Consulate. Nomad is going to stop a lot of different things when it comes to the defensive aggression. Specifically runouts. You can run out, let's say you want to run out on CEO windows, all right? I'll run through those possible runouts. Number 1. Piano windows. Number 2, the garage downstairs. You can impact that, shotgun it, and run out on those CEO windows. You can run out from the yellow door, the yellow window. You can technically run out from the bathroom window or from the Z windows, but that's going to be a little bit slower. You will be detected, but you could still win that gunfight. You got a lot of choices. You could even, as a last one, run out from CEO windows. So, like I said, choices. Nomad limits those options, and that's just on one particular run out. So there's, you know, lots of other places to factor in on this map, not even including rotations. So, here we go. Bottom floor defense to start things off from TSM. They have decided to bring only one ACOG, and that's because you can see Maestro and Echo are both banned. That Maestro ban, in particular, is really crucial on this map. Maestro is so powerful on the bottom floor of Consulate. You can do just too much work with him with those Evil Eyes. And it's really easy to place those Evil Eyes in a position where they are extremely difficult to destroy.
I'm actually interested to see how Maestro gets played differently on this site now that he doesn't have an ACOG. Now, obviously, on this site in particular, was there a Maestro, you would obviously see those Evil Eye cams going down underneath the vehicles. You usually put one down beneath white car, or black car, one down beneath white van. So, I mean, you're going to have to play it obviously very differently here. Also, just funny, look at the dock render for Pojo Man. It looks like there's just like a random sword. I know it's a flag. Oh, yeah. This looks like a blade of a sword, just like sticking out.
It kind of does, like a really big,
just like clouds,
like anime sword.
Yeah.
There's Corey with the opening kill. Bolo goes down. Pojo Man though will get Rise, who had attempted to run into the site. And Pojo Man says, no, you're not allowed to do that. There was no barbed wire placed on the security hallway, so good awareness there from Pojo Man to get that kill. It's shot from Aces, but only narrowly so. Merc gets away with his life.
Could very tell that with a minute in and Rogue so quick to get to the site that everything was being structured around this Dokkaebi play, and very well answered now from TSM. This is a frag grenade thrown in with reckless abandon from Aces. Lots of control on that bottom floor, but are they aware that Achieved lords over top of them? He's inside a main lobby, he's been droned out, so yes, the answer is they are very aware of where he is. Continuously getting pinged, just narrowly missing the shot. This DMR from Aces might not be the best choice as Corey takes some damage off of our screens. The Mozzie is still down on the ground. Corey's able to finish him off, so it's a joint effort. 3 members of Rogue within striking distance to be able to trade Achieved should things have gone sideways for Rogue.
Achieved did not get anything out of that other than an abundance of time, and he did waste a decent chunk. The difficult bit, though, is that Rogue, when man advantage, typically win their rounds, even on attack. They do have soft destruction, but they're not using it as we've hit the last minute. I guess they want to focus on the site take or are worried about retakes from upstairs? Yeah, it seems that way. Rogue are definitely worried about the roamers, meaning they're not confident that they've cleared everything out. That is where the Dokkaebi comes into play. She is going to give you the peace of mind to focus entirely on the bomb site when a phone call comes out, because, well, it means that you just don't have to worry about anyone flanking you. You can hear it.
I believe both logic bombs have been used as well.
Yeah.
That is very much the case. So the remaining members of TSM are all down below, and they'll just await the entry from Rogue. Rogue, of course, with a numbers advantage, but knowing the way that the site plays out, a 3v4 isn't that big of an advantage when you consider Garage on Consulate. Geo takes a huge chunk of damage, but Merc greets Hicks. Soul 2 for Mark. Pojo gets in on the action, and TSM has one of their best performances so far in this matchup. Merc's not going to be able to get any more on yellow stairs, but there's this cross-section that you see, a number of openings inside of the wall. Rips will have to go for the defuse, but he knows that he's as good as dead as Geo on the hunt. He comes down yellow stairs, and the very first round, defense on Consulate, it goes in the way of TSM.
Wow, all right, so despite Rogue effectively clearing out the roamers, having the man advantage when it came to the site take, getting the garage wall open, nice and easy, TSM still managed to win it. And why? It's because they gave Rogue a piece of their own medicine. TSM were aggressive in that round. They didn't take any passive stances. They were always trying to take the fight to the enemy. The biggest and the most important thing there, of course, was the push from Merc up by White Van. He managed to get not only the Thermite, who was carrying Diffuser, but also to apply pressure to the yellow staircase. And because there was no secondary attacker outside of Garage, there was no refrag potential. That yellow to front of white engagement is almost unwinnable 90% of the time. Merc had just basically a shooting range and the easiest targets of this matchup. He went to town, and TSM, well, they took the round. So that's a big win there for TSM. Again, confidence building is the thing that they need to be focusing on right now. And the only way to actually get that going is to be winning rounds and doing it as confidently as TSM just did. Congratulations to them. Now the question is, can they keep that ball rolling? Or is Rogue going to clamp down on it in this second map?
Attackers have discovered the location of the bomb.
Small change now from TSM as Merc is actually being moved off of a fragging roll onto Mira. So that's an interesting one. Obviously, this is done deliberately, mind you, but maybe there has been a call that's been, maybe this is just TSM's strategy. Mira is not always unbanned on Consulate, though.
You can make it work.
Consulate does actually tend to be one of those maps where we see Mira most often.
So we see her here most often because she gets banned infrequently on Consulate. There's so many other operators that you need to ban on the defensive side, and she's good here, but she's not crucial. So I guess that makes her better for the attack and the defense. The cool thing about Mira, the interesting way that she works, is that she's polarizing for both sides, whether it be attack or defense. And by polarizing, I mean she just changes things so much. She changes things less on Consulate than on most maps. And because of that, you can afford to bring her as a defender without, costing yourself anything. And then you can deal with it as an attacker. So yeah, I mean, she just makes it through the ban phase here a lot. Oh, well, he got it on the ledge, so he can jump it up. It's fine.
He can pick it back up, yeah. A word for anybody watching this that are not super familiar with how important drones are. If you are a player who runs headfirst into a building and then dies and then complains about where somebody is located or how your team wasn't there and you died without using your drone, you are bad. Learn to use your drone, please.
Yeah, I think
here's what you do. You drive your drone to where you're spawning, you pick it up, now you have 2 drones. And then you use them later in the round, and you don't die as early.
The biggest thing that I see
You are now a better player.
for like low elo players is they just kind of waste their drones. They throw them into the building. And speaking of throwing, there's Achieved getting a thrown C4 onto Rips. Geo gets another, and here's one more for TSM. It's Achieved picks up his 2nd kill. Hicks, with no information, decides to vault into Visa. It seems like a bit of a role reversal here, Parker, as we're seeing TSM getting these opening kills and looking really confident on defense.
Yeah, there's this lack of coordination that we saw from TSM in the very first map is now falling very squarely on the shoulders of Rogue. It is hard to drone out effectively when you've got a Vigil and a Mozzie on the board. Achieved is going to be calling information for them, so as you're gaining information as the attacker, it's being taken away from you by the Pulse on defense, so tough. And now it looks like for Rogue, they don't really have much info either. Ooh. But there's a kill from Rise, a nice shot, and he's going to have to do the rest of it. Finds 2, but it's all for naught. Achieved is there to shut it down, and TSM are up 2-0.
TSM looking pretty good in this map. It's interesting. Again, this is Rogue's map pick. Sometimes you see matches like this, though, where the team that picked the map ends up doing worse on it. Partially could be down to how predictable they are on that map. Of course, TSM really liking Kafe, being very comfortable there. Now, this is interesting. Krapel is going to take the tactical timeout right off the bat. 2 rounds in a row for TSM? No, says Krapel. That's not good enough. So he's going to try and correct the trajectory of Rogue here by taking that tactical timeout and instructing his team as to what's going to happen in future rounds. You can see Rise really on top of that. I think that part of it is the same thing we were seeing from TSM, where we had the really poor droning from TSM in the very first map, and they kept walking into landmines, the enemy, tucked away in a corner, snug, safe, and sound, and ready to win their gunfights, and no information gathered on them. And we're seeing this happen here now against Rogue, as they are failing to drone things out. Now, you mentioned the Mozzie Vigil combo. It's going to make droning really difficult for Rogue, and you're absolutely right. It has done just that, but we've also seen examples of like Pulse going undetected. Why? Because, I don't know, negligence, poor coordination. Especially on a lobby take, right? You have to get the 2nd floor under control. There's likely going to be somebody playing on that bottom floor. Vigil's ability affects floors above and below him as well. So you have to realize that you could be droning out the basement and Vigil could be on the floor above you. You could be droning out Visa and Vigil's playing an admin above. Yeah. That's extra work that you need to do. Where is the Pulse going to play? Oftentimes, on lobby, the Pulse is going to be downstairs in the basement. So now you've got 3 floors that you need to take care of, all while that, your ability to drone is being taken away from you. So, tactical timeout taken, I guess, early, you could say, by Rogue. But now they'll look at attacking on the top floor. TSM's site choice is kind of interesting to watch, because if you go back to Kafe on our very first map, TSM was allergic to probably the most defendable site, which is Bar Cocktail, which is the top floor of Kafe. A lot of teams like going upstairs to console office. They call it CEO. TSM not super keen on it. So what do you think the mindset is here for TSM? Do you think it's just to maybe catch them flat-footed? Do you think that, like some teams that we've seen in every single region, they like to go with the off-meta sites because teams aren't necessarily as prepped for it? I mean, I would just say that, it's Consulate. they're comfortable on any of the sites. They can go wherever they want, and why not bring out a little bit of a wonky site selection? There's nothing wrong with that. Merc is going to use his heartbeat detector to actually detect his opponent here, who's now trying to challenge. That's Rise on the C window. The drone economy has already been significantly hurt by Rogue. As you can see, they've lost 3 drones, but Rise will get a responsive kill there as Merc goes down. Great reaction there from Rise, who's been landing some amazing shots through this match. So yes, the drone economy very hurt here for Rogue, but not unrecoverable. Rise trying to clear out ADS there. That's a big pick, not just in terms of confidence. You managed to shut Merc down. He hasn't exactly had the greatest success so far over these 2 maps, or at least map and 2 rounds, now 3 rounds of Consulate. But getting somebody like Merc off the board is a huge sigh of relief. Same as when you know that you have aces removed from action. You can play so much freer, knowing that the biggest threat, that Jaws, the shark in the water,
isn't going to be circling at any point. Also, you take out the Pulse, which, if you see the way that Pulse is going to play here, he can sit inside a projector and give information for a push from Visa or from Admin. He can sit down below. There's a lot of things that a Pulse can do.
Rogue has control of top yellow, and that's really crucial because it doesn't really matter what kind of information you're going to be gathering on people in the site. If you've got control of top yellow and bathroom, you can establish angles and take those fights with confidence, especially on this top floor. There are still roamers downstairs for TSM with C4. I believe Bolo is underneath. And we're actually going to be hitting about the last minute. So Bolo can do some plant denial downstairs as long as he doesn't die. In terms of utility, Pojoman still has his gas canisters, which is huge. No lifelines left, no ash charges left, only one flash and one nade on Rogue's side. Rips is going to eat some damage there, and oh, nice shot from Geo from Connector. He gets Corey. That's one of the crossfires eliminated, but that second follow-up fight is going to go the way of Rise. The push-in from Admin is actually shut down, rather CEO. Bolo's going to get one downstairs as well, so he can still see 4 from below, and he's winning his gunfights. Achieved is here to assist Bolo, meaning there's nobody on site right now, and as soon as Rogue realizes that, they're going to rush in.
Diffuser has been surrendered, will need to be retrieved, and knowing that you've got both members down below, there goes the C4. A great play from Aces, an excellent read, will take the best thing that TSM had going for them, which was that elusiveness and uncertainty that would live in Rogue's mind. Diffuser has been successfully planted, and Rogue will keep firm control. That timeout from Krapel, their coach, obviously paying dividends, as Rogue will take their first round here on Consulate.
That kill in the drop down.
Gorgeous.
That ended the round. Aces saved it just there. Bolo could have denied on both bomb sites with the C4 from below, but he could, yeah, not if he doesn't have information, not if he's going to get shot from above on the drop. That's poor positioning there from Bolo. Unfortunate. It happens, though. And Aces not letting that slip through his team's fingers. Great job there. So, we've got a situation where, yes, TSM, they've got 2 rounds. However, that 1 round from Rogue is going to put Rogue back into the. I mean, for me, that's gonna build up their the momentum is the word I was looking for. I don't know why I couldn't find that. We use it so frequently. And I think that there's definitely potential for TSM to let this one slip and let the defensive side start to get a little bit shaky. But this will be one of those decisive rounds that's going to change the trajectory of the match overall. Because that was the first time that TSM went to the top 4. And there's a possibility that TSM are just not comfortable upstairs. Rogue might just have that top 4 attack dialed in. One thing that I will note is that in that last round, TSM too readily gave up control of yellow stairs. And the reason they did that is because of their aggressive play with the Pulse by Z, where he was trying to get in a play on Rise, ended up dying. If that doesn't happen, maybe TSM play top 4 differently. So there's still potential for change. Not going to tell you guys that TSM can't defend the top floor, but they need to be really careful with these rounds. Especially considering what we saw in map number 1.
Especially if you let Rogue heat up. You know, it was very obvious from the looks on their faces and the fact that Krapel took a, well, I mean, maybe not very obvious, but it seemed very obvious to us that with how quickly Krapel wanted to settle that team down and the looks on their faces, that it was not exactly the best atmosphere, and Rogue getting very frustrated knowing that they should have been better than they were. Now, worried about a possible quick execute on towards the site. As that first garage panel gets opened up, we're in towards the site. Geo tosses out a smoke canister. One of those toxic canisters he'll be playing on pipes, where the smoke can continuously lob on in. Is this a free kill about to happen? The dock is still there. This has been noted.
Oh,
but
he
loses it. No, Aces, you're not supposed to miss those. It's Geo there, actually, to have his teammates back. Read perfectly as Pojoman looked like he was being delivered to Rogue on a platter.
That's really great coverage there. I believe from Achieved, but whoever it was, TSM really being very careful. This is still a very exposed dock here. Second exothermic will go off. Rogue now have the garage panel fully opened. Well, not fully, but you know, as much as they're really going to need. They got those both those exothermics off. A little bit of panel in the middle there. They have to be careful where they plant, by the way, because of that panel being there still.
You could say it's open as much as it's going to get.
Yeah.
Fully open.
Yeah, we know what we mean.
Yeah, it's being pedantic at that point. I think people are like, well, actually, there's a sliver in between.
Actually?
Shut up. You don't tell us how to do our job.
So Rogue is trying to shift their attack here. They want to clear upstairs. They've got a minute left. This IGL call is solid. I'm guessing that they've detected that there's a lot of anchors on site for TSM and that could be an easy clear upstairs. But they're actually going to lose Corey in that attempted clear of the top floor. I don't know where Bolo was, but yeah, it looks like by Visa Stairs maybe. Corey went down.
TSM's roam has been excellent so far. Oh, there's a Chief from below. He's been great with the C4s on Consulate. That's his second. Geo pushes up. Only a couple bullets, but a shotgun will win that fight. And very nearly a flawless round now. TSM seem to have regained their composure after that previous round where Rogue cooled things off. Hicks will look for his very first kill, but he won't find it. Flawless round from TSM. Very well played. Called effectively by Rogue, but TSM were just better at hitting their shots.
You can tell. Whatever it is that Fly said to, or Fly Bagel, or Bagel, I guess I should say, said to his team during the break, it really hit home because you're right, TSM have regained their composure. They are looking much more like the TSM that we saw coming out of North America that dominated through Pro League. And, well, that's going to give us the match that we were all dreaming about. The Rogue versus TSM matchup starts now, I guess, in map number 2, after Rogue gets the clean sweep in map number 1. We'll see if that is actually going to hold true. As this could just also be a sweep back for TSM. Who knows? It does. I don't imagine. Honestly, I just don't see it. But it's possible. Map number 3, if we get to it, will be Clubhouse. But that's an if. There's still a possibility here for Rogue to make the comeback happen in the first half, win these last remaining 2 rounds, and then suddenly just come alive and start dominating in the defensive half. That's another thing that we should note. So far, through this entire match, over these 2 maps, we have seen a total of 4 defensive wins, or 4 attacking wins. Why am I saying it's opposite day now? No, we've seen 4 attacking wins so far. It's been a really defender-sided match, period, regardless of the map. And that's curious because Consulate's rather balanced.
It could just be that maybe Rogue has the shakes now themselves.
Yeah, maybe exchanging shakes.
Maybe everybody has the shakes.
It's possible. There's a lot of factors at play here, of course, and you know, while there are very few attacking wins, I don't know if that's the only reason. Could be the maps, could be these teams reading each other really well, could be the drone economy that we've talked about as well. I mean, look at this. We're only 30 seconds of this round. 2 drones gone from Rogue. Now, we've not kept our finger on the pulse of the drone economy in the past because we couldn't. So we don't really have a frame of reference there, I guess, but that seems...
No, achieved his pulse.
Okay, thank you.
No way they're going to get away with this. A double run out now. C4 tossed out for good measure. Does it connect? No. Rips was a dead man walking at that point as TSM takes some lumps from that aggressive play, but there's a C4 from Merc that will connect to Aces, and he tucks him into bed.
That's really big because Aces was actually the one applying so much pressure to these roamers upstairs, and now they've got free reign. They pretty much could do whatever they want. That C4 from below and the C4s from TSM throughout this match have been one of their biggest saving graces. Absolutely huge there for TSM.
These opening duels have been so integral for both of these teams. Rogue led the way on map number 1. It's actually fairly even so far through Consulate with 3 for TSM and 2 for Rogue. It's a constant reminder that we need to give to people that these opening duels have such an influence on the round, especially when they happen early. They're going to triple up, though, for TSM, as Rogue will now tread water for a minute and a half with the round virtually unwinnable at this point. A 2v5 for the European team.
It really does look like what I said earlier. It's a role reversal because right now TSM looked like Rogue looked in the first half of the first map. Now in the first half of the second map. An aggressive play here from Merc. He gets his 3rd kill. It's all on Rise now. Now Rise has actually been really impressive through this match. He's been landing his shots quite a lot, but I don't think he's got an ace in him with 1 minute in this situation. And there it is.
Doesn't even have a single kill, Michael. Flawless round for TSM. Again, their 2nd flawless round in a row.
Really impressive stuff.
It's been almost 8 minutes now when you consider the prep phase and the discovery and the reveal phase and all of that jazz. Almost 8 minutes since Rogue was able to find a kill on the scoreboard.
It's not looking good for Rogue right now.
It's demoralizing.
Yeah, must be. And I've already seen people counting online. I've already seen people counting TSM out, and then now this is happening, and it's looking like it's a little bit more of a complicated equation than just Rogue better than TSM or TSM better than Rogue. We're definitely seeing both of these teams kind of fitting the environment in varying ways. The biggest thing to note, of course, is the defender's sightedness of this matchup, not the map, the whole match, but then also the sway, the ebb and flow of the confidence, because it seems like, in map number 1, it was really just Rogue couldn't lose their gunfights. Now in map number 2, it seems like TSM can't lose their gunfights. So it's an interesting match for sure. I don't think it's what everybody hoped this match would be. I think what most people were hoping for out of a Rogue TSM matchup was just a constant back and forth, every round coming down to the wire, and it's just absolutely crazy. No one can predict anything. Oh, what's going on? And what we're getting instead is also very interesting, but it's different, that's for sure. We're seeing just really weird waves of domination. It's switching between teams.
Yeah, no, I looked at this, and it's like you've got the battle of the titans between the battle of the giants between Aces and Merc. Hasn't really been that way. We can reminisce about the Season 10 finals in Tokonami, where Citizen and Skies had that I can get more kills than you fight in the semifinals. It was a brilliant show between two of the best at what they do. In this case, really hasn't lived up to its billing so far. Merc has been having a very quiet day. His performance on LAN has not been as much as he wanted. The battle of the Titans right now seem to be two players who are in completely opposite games. Rampy dropping 19 frags in his game in map number 1 for Space Station. So he was the one that was going up against Aces, who ended up finishing with 17 kills, was it? 17 and 4 or something along those lines. Those were the two that were actually going against each other, but they weren't even playing one another. So TSM have been able to outfox Rogue. Their roam has been very strong. It has been aided in large part by the obfuscation of information. Geo right now leading the way for his team with 8 kills, and not just doing so in terms of kills, but also that vigil role. I mentioned trying to conceal where you are. Hard-pressed to find a better operator for it than Geo. Just going to continue to roam around along with the Alibi clones, the Valkyrie cameras, and the pests in the way. It makes the job for Rogue even tougher, and this could end up being a 5-1 split for TSM. Just the same medicine that Rogue gave TSM on map number 1.
So we've got roamers downstairs for TSM. You can see that Rogue is trying to account for that. They're putting in roam clear down underneath in Visa. I believe that's Aces. He's actually coming up the stairs now, pressuring wherever he pleases, I suppose. A lot of emphasis placed downstairs for TSM, not only in the middle floor, but in the basement as well. They really want to have their C4s be the saving grace of the round. Pojo Man will eat a little bit of damage early on, of course, but he's still alive. Merc just runs up to Aces and gets the kill. Did y'all see that? He came up from the basement. Aces is on drone, and then easy kill. That aggression that Merc has been putting out in this second map has really been paying out.
And Aces has not been the best for opening duels for his team. Down goes Corey Geo once again, the star of the show. Pojo downed, but not finished off. Jaeger's rotative achieve gets caught in the back as Rogue is stacked up now over by the vending machine, pushing on in from admin. The Valkyrie will make some noise at the top of Spiral Stairs, and Rogue will have to keep an eye on that, but 30 seconds left means that they don't exactly have a wealth of time to work with. They're going to be under fire from a couple angles. Rise hits a beautiful shot. Pojo is still down, so it's a 3v3. Things could get tricky for TSM now. Will they be able to hold on to this round? They've been recalled to the site. The Vigil will head on up through yellow. Beautiful shot from Geo onto Rise. Bolo through the wall onto Hicks. Diffuser dropped. Rip swings around, but no, traded off. TSM 5-1. Just as dominant a performance on Consulate as we saw Rogue commit on Kafe. The matchups themselves may not be close, but these two teams putting in the work needed to prove why they are the #1 team in each region.
On each other's maps, and that's the most interesting thing. This is Rogue's map, as Kafe was TSM's map, and that is a really interesting role reversal. I'm saying that a lot. I mean, honestly, it's true, though. We're getting a lot of against conventional wisdom kind of results here, and again, I always find those interesting. Now, top floor for Rogue for the next for their first defense. They'll start at the opposite site of TSM. I'm sure maybe they'll just go down as TSM went up in their site selection. That last round was crucial. The reason it was so crucial is because TSM managed to win on the site that in the past they had been shaky on. That's the top floor. And now, going into the second half, they have this 5-1 lead, which is really important. There's a solid lead that will give TSM the ability to lock this out whenever they are able. Just 2 rounds, that's all it's going to take. We'll push on to map number 3 when that happens, if it happens.
10 seconds.
I wouldn't count Rogue out, though. There's a lot of potential here for Rogue to switch it up on this defensive half. It is well established now at this point for both of these teams that we are looking at a defender-sided match, period, regardless of map. And since that is well established, based on what we've been seeing through both of these 2 maps, Rogue is going to be going into this second half thinking to themselves, oh yeah, no, it's fine.
Yeah.
No problem. I mean,
This is fine.
Yeah, this is fine. Meme aside, though, and actually without the fire, though, because seriously, I mean, they could just as easily as TSM put up a 5-1, Rogue could put up a 5-1, and we could go to overtime. And then it could come down to who gets the defensive side.
Well, we got Clubhouse as our 3rd map between these teams. It's a map that is played very often in both regions, and in fact, over the last 6 months or so, I believe it's the most played map in all of the map pools. So both of these teams will have a good idea on how to crack it.
So somebody did down Corey, and Merc actually came pretty close to getting that kill. I'm guessing it was a random spray through the window that downed Corey. But the kill was not secured. What is important, though, is that Corey's on low HP, so he probably won't win any gunfights. He does likely have a C4, though, and that C4 will work out great for him. Yes, indeed, he does still have that C4.
Something that's also really interesting is that online, almost every team runs the Commando on Mozzie, but on LAN, everybody's been running the Roni from what I've been watching, so...
I think the Roni is better if you're landing your shots. I think it's really that simple. If you can land your shots, the Roni is better. The only thing is that ammunition, it really does get in the way if you're trying to take multiple engagements at a time, but then that's mitigated by his quick reload. Geo will get Corey, so there goes the Mozzie we were just talking about.
That should have been called out by Merc as there was a pest on the benches. Pojo will lose a drone to it. But Corey's dead, so that drone is not going to be able to be moved around. So it's just going to sit there, and I feel like they don't particularly care at that point. You obviously want to keep drones, but it shows that Pojo Man still is a drone in action, but that is not correct.
If it doesn't get shot by Rogue, it's actually a really good spot to have a hacked drone. It'll call your Visa Stairs.
Yep. There's a frag grenade that'll go on in. It drops down behind the desk. It'll find Rise, and TSM are looking for match point. They are feasting on this Rogue squad right now. This is going to be tough for Rogue now. One up towards Spiral Stairs. It'll meet Achieve, or it'll meet Bolo rather. And Bolo takes some damage. Doesn't do as much as he would have liked. There's Geo with yet another kill. He's been on fire so far this game, looking to try and tie Ace's record. Achieved goes down, frag grenade goes on in from Achieved, so from the grave, they'd say. Merc finishes it off, and match point for TSM, who are making quicker work of Rogue than they did to themselves in map number 1.
Yeah, this is actually looking exceptionally confident. And that round win there, that on attack, that is going to secure TSM's confidence, not only for this match, but hopefully for their sake and their team and their fans' sake, for the whole LAN. Because, you know, you come into it, you have a little bit of shakes, and then, you know, things aren't looking very good, and blah, 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 blah. It looks like you're going to have a bit of a struggle, and you end up losing your first map on this LAN, 7-2, no less. But then like that, suddenly you're back in it, up 6-1. So TSM have got to be feeling confident and comfortable in this now, and we'll see how that is affecting, or is going to affect map number 3 if we get to it. Again, still, it's technically possible that Rogue is going to win 5 rounds in a row now, and then we will go to overtime, and then so maybe Rogue gets defense, and then they win in OT, and then it's over. 2-0. It's just unlikely, I guess, at this point. Now look at the kills, ladies and gentlemen. Look at that. Geo with 13 frags. That is more than the entire enemy team combined. And that is quite a statement. Actually, I believe, now that I do the math, it's actually the same. It's the same. He has all of the same. He has the same amount of kills as all of the enemy team. 13 on Rogue, 13 on Geo, and then quite a lot of assisting kills there on the rest of TSM.
It's been a tough go for the fraggers right now on Rogue. Rise is the only one who's really shown up on the team, and what has been a frustrating performance, I would imagine, for the European team. TSM were able to work out the kinks, obviously, on a bad Kafe, and these teams trading each other's maps, as it seems very likely with the way that TSM has played that they should be able to take Consulate, even if they lose a round or two in the process. You could say that Rogue are in their death throes here, even if they're able to grab a round or two. I think it's the momentum right now is just so squarely in TSM's favor, and the timeout was called by Rogue after the second round. You are not able to stop this bleeding. There's no tourniquet that you can apply at this point in the match to be able to say, let's clear our heads and, you know, shape up. We are perilously close to losing out. And there you go, Merc with the opening pick. If he wakes up, he's going to be able to put the rest of Rogue to sleep.
That's a really big opening kill there. And yeah, Merc's been put to low HP, but it doesn't really matter. It's about the momentum. It's about that shift. Now suddenly, TSM are in the driver's seat for yet another attacking round in a row. That's the two that we've seen so far. TSM get that opening kill. EMP coming up to the top of Visa Stairs. That'll clear quite a lot. Guzmat being shot away. And there's the Ella. Rise takes down Geo. Now, we actually haven't talked a lot about this, but Ella has received a recoil buff, so her gun has less recoil. It's again a laser beam. It is a bit of a pea shooter.
Yeah.
But it shoots so quickly and with so little recoil that you can just melt people, and that's what Rise just did.
At close range, it's going to excel, and excel indeed it did. There's Corey now. He'll rotate and catch achieved, looking on the balcony, leading into Projector. And the advantage now goes in favor of Rogue. It will continue to grow as Merc gets spotted. He'll meet his fate at the hands of the Super Shorty for Aces to pick up only kill number 3 for the German fragger. Bolo's up top. You can see all the outlines from the Rogue players that he's got his work cut out for him, and he's going to be facing a very close engagement through the doorway. He's going to have no support whatsoever from Pojo Man, who's still on top of the building watching the skylight. There's a flank route that's cut off with it, but that's really it. You still got a minute to go, so you don't need to get too aggressive. Patience from Bolo would be paramount here. I don't suspect we are going to see much from Rogue in terms of aggressiveness. No, Bolo decides to engage. He loses the fight. And Pojo Man is aware of how impossible this task is. With 40 seconds left, not exactly the most potent fragging potential in a Thermite, and Pojo's job is not exactly to be the one to get into any real engagements. Only one death on him, though. He can possibly keep that one alive with 25 seconds left. TSM could take a glorified timeout here, but it would also allow Rogue the timeout, too. You don't want to relent at this point. You want Rogue to continue to feel the pressure that they have so far. Gishmat mine triggered as Pojo walks in, 10 seconds to go. Nobody from Rogue is going to peek. He gets shot in the back instead. It's Corey picking up the very final kill for Rogue. They stay alive. It's 6-2. TSM still on match point.
And yes, while TSM ascended through their site selection, so far we've seen Rogue descend. They went from top to mid, and question is now, will they go to the bottom? Looks like, yeah, they are going to go to the basement. So yeah, there you go. Interesting selection differences there between TSM and Rogue. Not that it really matters too much. So that last round, we saw TSM clear in through admin office. They had already done some work by Visa. Things were looking good for TSM. Their clear was going well. And then suddenly, Rogue make some confident plays. They get some aggressive picks. And oh, what's that? It's looking a whole lot like Kafe again? Yeah, no, absolutely. It's the way that these teams are playing that is defining who is winning these rounds. The defense is in the advantage, yes. Okay, that's indisputable at this point. But for the first round of the defensive half on this map, Rogue did not look confident at all. They allowed the fights to come to them in that second round in this second half of this map. Rogue just, they were getting aggressive. They were taking fights. They were peeking things. They were winning those engagements. And yeah, there were moments where TSM got a little bit unlucky. Their timing was not great, whether it was holding an angle, rotating, doesn't matter. But that is how these rounds are being defined. It's about who's winning those heads-up gunfights. And when Rogue is taking the fight to the enemy, they are winning those heads-up gunfights. It's the same for TSM. But, we'll see what comes of that moving forward. It's an admin office clear again. Now this time it is a basement defense. Soft destruction is going to be paramount here for TSM, as will Pojo Man's exothermic charges on that garage wall. The main priority now, it seems for TSM, is to clear out upstairs. Sounded like the garage just got opened up. Can't quite tell, but I think Pojo Man just exothermic the wall. Heard a loud explosion, so that's my guess. And yes, indeed, he's down one exo. Good droning from TSM.
God, I love this new UI so much.
It's great, yeah.
It's so good, man.
Incredibly clean.
I'm so happy for it. This has been a very peculiar matchup between these two teams. Both blowouts thus far. There was time for Kafe to tighten up, didn't happen. There's still time for Consulate to tighten up, but it's going to rely on Rogue seemingly reinventing the way that they themselves have played this map. And with the destruction that's been caused already from TSM, that might not exactly be ideal for them or even possible. Merc knew he was going to lose his drone. I don't know why he drove it in that way. Like, he very clearly saw the pest indicator, right? Like, we saw it.
Probably just sack it so you don't have to deal with it. I'm not really sure. He could have just shot it, of course, but trying to play devil's advocate here, I don't know. TSM still haven't cleared out the top floor, by the way. And there's going to be the smoke spotted and down. Actually, not smoke, but mute. And another for Bolo. He did down aces. Merc got the final kill there. But that's some really great effective play there from Bolo upstairs. And good knowledge as well.
Might have been a fatal blow losing those two offsite players. They'll answer back, though, as Rise finds Geo. So trying to keep this close with Rogue on the ropes. 1 minute left. Drone work down below, so Achieve knows the piano is clear before he can drop. Buck's job is mostly centered inside a piano, but there's a mirror window inside a bathroom that will stop him from dropping.
I absolutely love how thorough TSM is being when it comes to information gathering, and they're clear. They're not skipping things anymore as they had done in map number 1. Seemingly some a lack of information, I guess, on the side of TSM.
Merc lost the drone. He was unhappy about that. He's now also not able to do the full job with the lifeline that he wants, but Rise has made his way upstairs. He was not always up there. He got the kill onto Geo. There goes a Nitro Cell, expended from the pulse, a drop, and Rise is able to walk away with it. Down goes Achieved, but Merc wasn't too far off. Will Zofia be able to trade him off? There goes Corey. Merc is hot on his heels. You're going to have to leave Achieved for dead here. Pojo planting the diffuser. Only a second left. Nobody will be able to deny it at all as it's Rise as the only member of Rogue remaining. He'll be inside a Zulu. He takes down Merc. He can get his kill onto Achieved, but there's still Bolo and Pojo Man left. A drone in the pocket of one member of that team will get tossed out. You know how hard it is to retake this. Rise must surely know that this round is over. 25 seconds left, and that's exactly how long Rogue is going to need to wait before we have Clubhouse as map number 3. Polo takes a tiny bit of damage. It's just picking away at his feet, but Rise knows the moment he tries to long arm this, he's dead. He's going for the long arm. They know, they'll push on in, and he's a dead man. Totally done. Same scoreline as map number 1. Pojo's face says it all. What are you doing? It's 1-1, both 7-2s for TSM and Rogue on maps 1 and 2.
So TSM, a little flustered there. For both of those maps, we saw some interesting play, in particular Merc. Right at the end there, I think the last round is a great highlight. He is definitely not on tip-top form, but that's not to say that he's playing poorly. He did drop 9 kills, of course, in that map. Had a really good map individually, but just not, I think, what everyone expects from him.
Yes.
Geo is filling that role. He's coming in with 13 kills and being that dominant player. Another thing to highlight, of course, I didn't actually see where Aces was on that scoreboard, but I don't think...
He only had 3 kills.
Yeah, he was not alive like he was on Kafe. So a little bit of exchange on who's getting the kills and where. And it's different for TSM. It's not what a lot of people anticipate, but they brought it to map number 3.
I mean, the same thing happened on map 1, right? Merc was very quiet on map 1. The whole team was very quiet. You had Achieved making some really big plays. You had Geo making some big plays. Merc was obviously there, but he was nowhere near the force that he is usually. You got to see Aces in map 1 do what Rogue has relied on so often, which is Aces just consuming an entire game. This happened in Tokonami as well. Despite, at the time, Rogue's loss to Aerowolf, then when they were playing under Giants Gaming, Aerowolf was able to win despite Aces being by far and away the best player in that entire matchup. In this case, Merc had a couple really strong rounds, but overall, it was a team effort with Geo leading the way for TSM. Now, when we look at Clubhouse as our 3rd map, as these teams take a needed break, and we set ourselves up for what will be required to settle this dispute between the top team in EU and the top team in NA, whose fraggers show up best?
That is really the story.
We talked about how it was originally the Trident. Now people are calling it the Fork because of the 4 tines.
Yeah.
Bolo has been exceptionally quiet. He's not being played in the same aggressive capacity. Gio has actually taken a lot of that role away from Bolo. Bolo's still being played well, but Gio has been able to do his own thing, fragging on a relatively straightforward role. But who's going to show up? Whose fraggers are going to show up? Rips has had a very quiet day. Corey has had a quiet day, but Corey is on support. Hicks has not had a very good day either. For Rogue, it's really just been Aces and Rise. Rise being very consistent in both matches. He top fragged for Rogue in that match. But what happens on Clubhouse? How does a Clubhouse shape up? Because it's going to be as defender-sided as we just saw Kafe. Depending on who starts on defense, that's going to be a huge boost to not just morale, but hopefully momentum for that team.
I mean, if you're going to have a defender-sided Consulate, it's going to be a very, very exceptionally defender-sided Clubhouse. That's for sure. At least that's what conventional wisdom would suggest. But these teams have been upsetting that conventional wisdom frequently through this match. So there's potential for something completely new to come out here. Going into the map, I'm just excited for potentially more back and forth kind of map, because so far, this has been a deceptively fast best of 3. We're on map number 3, and it's barely been any time at all.
It's 11:35, so 11:36, I suppose technically.
Give a little bit of time for the lead-in.
Yeah. I mean, if you think about the lead-in, we've only actually been playing about an hour and 10 minutes of Rainbow Six max. So
yeah.
And we just heard that Rogue is going to be starting on attack, so TSM is going to be starting defense on Clubhouse. That is not a bad place to find yourself, especially if you're a fan of the North American team. TSM on defense gives them a massive advantage, and they can build up a lead that might be too insurmountable for Rogue, especially Rogue will continuously have the "we are not a LAN team" in the back of their mind. They have not been able to throw that monkey off their shoulder just yet. It is still there. That monkey is still on their back. They have been knocked out too early by where they should be finishing in almost every single major LAN, and they hate when we talk about it, but it's important for us to use it to give a better perspective on their struggles and how they want to achieve better.
In contrast, TSM, not this exact roster, but TSM, when they first started, were a team that everyone always joked about. So they can only win best of 3s. They can only win if it's a best of 3, if they get to go the long walk. And that's all well and good, but you know, it was causing them a lot of trouble in Pro League to begin with in TSM's career, because they were losing time after time in those best of 1s. This is a best of 3, and the joke is still true. They still do play well in best of 3s, and I think we've seen that proven in this map number 2, where TSM managed to come back from a pretty devastating first map. In map number 2, they deliver their own devastating blow with the exact same scoreline, 7-2, to answer back Rogue. And now the question is Rogue going to be able to shake that land curse that you've been talking about, that monkey on their back, I guess is the way you put it? And on the other hand, is TSM going to be able to keep that true with the best of 3s? Are they going to be able to be like, yeah, this is what we do, this is how we do it? Well, we'll find out as we load into Clubhouse, and it's going to be Rogue starting on attack, TSM starting on defense, in a series where we have had, in total, it looks like 6 attacking wins.
Not too many. Not too many. So TSM obviously being very fortunate to start on defense here on Clubhouse. A question that has been asked by many people, and I think there's an answer out there somewhere, but we haven't found it yet. Will Rogue be the answer to this question? That's what we're waiting to see. With the way that TSM has played, who can reliably beat TSM in a best of 3? Because right now, if you've got the best team in Europe unable to do that.
What did you just see what I just saw? The bands.
Thatcher and Maverick.
Thatcher and Maverick. The crazy thing is, though, TSM banned Thatcher, and that makes sense. They're starting on defense. They want to rack up the early lead, as that has been clearly the superior thing for both of these teams. If you rack up that early lead on defense, you're just golden. But then Rogue doubled down by banning Maverick. That's crazy.
Rogue has done this many times before, though. This is vintage Rogue on Clubhouse. They love banning both hard breachers. Rogue is a team that on Clubhouse is able to slice through the defensive advantage with only one hard breacher or no Thatcher on the board. they have a lot of depth with the way that they can attack the 3 main played sites. Barstock is not really played outside of Latin America. That's the only region so far in Pro League where we've actually seen it get picked more than a couple times, or even maybe more than once. So Rogue is capable of doing this. Now, you see 2 very important parts of this strategy for Rogue. They're going to involve both Zofia and Buck, because if you want to get rid of an Electroclaw being tossed out by Kaid, who's the operator that Pojo is playing. If you want to remove a Mute Jammer, which is stuck on a wall, how are you going to be able to do that? Well, if you're attacking Gym Master, or if you are attacking CCTV Cache, you're going to rely on possibly frag grenades. You're going to rely on soft destruction from below. You need to be able to get that verticality to shake off a defender like a Bandit or a Mute or a Kaid from being able to sit and camp with lots of protection, the wall that you need to take out. Rogue is going to be doubling up on hard destruction, which is very commonplace. But without a Maverick and without a Thatcher, the Electroclaws that Kaid will be bringing are going to be extremely hard to get. And actually, nigh impossible on Moto Hatch and on Blue Hatch. Which means that, yes, you might be able to get rid of the Electroclaw if it gets used on Kitchen. But there's a high likelihood that if I'm Pojo Man, I might just be using the Electroclaws on Moto and Stock, because you don't have to worry about them being removed from a Thatcher.
Yeah, I hear you that this is like something that Rogue is good at, that they're used to. The whole banning of the Maverick and getting rid of Dual Hard Destructor, getting rid of the denial operators, that's Maverick and Thatcher. But in this match, it doesn't make sense to me, and I hope I'm wrong. I hope that Rogue are going to give us an awesome performance here on attack, and we'll see some change in the way that this match has been playing out. But I feel like they just doubled down on their own disadvantage, if that makes sense. We'll see. We'll see. I just want to see these teams go head-to-head and find out what comes of it. So far, nothing really happening. We've seen Rise eat a little bit of damage. Probably to the roamers. We've got quite a lot of them, actually. 4 roamers. Bolo's going to get the lead-off kill for TSM. He's the one played on Vigil now. Geo has let that role slip over to someone else's hands. All well and good. Geo's playing Legion, also roaming. But he's got a fallback potential. I think he actually may have already fallen back. Yeah, he went through the stock drop down back into sight because Dirt Tunnel reinforced door was opened up. No droning upstairs, and Achieved will get aces. Now, the reason there's no droning is because you could see that hacked Mozzie drone. That's in Garage. That drone was supposed to go up Garage rafters and then come into server and then cache and then the stairs and then spot Achieved. But because Achieved had that pest, the drone just didn't come in for Rogue, and now they're down one more person.
This is a very North American strategy that we've actually seen get exported from the region, and it's been popularized by a team that actually played Clubhouse in the very first match on the mainstream against Na'Vi, which is Space Station.
Yeah.
They love to run a roam setup on the Spaceman, and it's enabled by the fact that you have all these different operators which are capable of shutting down information. It's going to be a very quick rush into the site from Rogue, as I think they assess we're already down 2, we might as well go for broke. But it's not going to get anywhere. And TSM starts map number 3 with a flawless round, barely breaking a sweat, as the call from Rogue does not pay off.
Remember when I said in map number 1 that TSM needs to just get a few kills here and there to build some confidence? Mm-hmm. That is another one of those dam breaks of confidence. That's where you win that leadoff round in a map number 3 in a really intense matchup against one of your strongest opponents that you're gonna face. And that really is going to consolidate TSM's confidence in themselves, and that's big. So we can let that one rest, I suppose. On the side of Rogue, that was a large loss, but it was mostly on TSM's setup and Rogue's lack of a counter to that setup. I'd say that's the way I would describe that round playing out. What happened there is that Rogue were trying to go for a more standard, conventional take. They wanted to push in, open the drop downs, hit the site. Now, they could have gone for Kitchen. They had dirt pressure. They could have gone for Church Wall. They had the hard destruction for it. It doesn't really matter what your mission is if you're Rogue. But the highlight, the story there, is that Rogue was not prepared for a roaming setup from TSM. They didn't drone adequately enough. And yes, okay, a Mozzie pest is going to prevent you from droning in Garage and thus prevent you from spotting that Mozzie at the top of cache stairs. But you still have to check it. Throw a drone in somewhere else. You gotta drone it, or you're gonna die to things like that. And if you don't drone it, pre-fire. Pre-fire where you think someone might be. And yeah, it's going to cost you a lot of ammunition, but you have a bunch, so I don't know, go for it. What we didn't see there from Rogue was a thorough clear of the roamers. They just, I guess, didn't expect it, didn't have the information from the prep phase to counter it, and yeah, certainly cost them. Interestingly, the entirety of Garage was not reinforced here by TSM. They left one panel soft. Maybe it's because they wanted Rogue to open that one. Not entirely sure. It's an interesting choice, though.
I would suspect that Rogue would at least be somewhat understanding of the fact that there's going to be a roam from a North American team. I mean, if Rogue have done any homework on this, then they would know. There's the opening pick for TSM yet again.
Yeah. I mean, if they were understanding, then they weren't well prepared.
Almost getting the buck as Merc up on the Garage rafters. Cannot secure the kill. That would have been huge for TSM to remove Aces, who we will stare at quite intently for the entirety of this match to see what he's able to put forward. C4 goes out. It just narrowly misses. Corey will take a bit of damage, but that C4 could have definitely netted a larger kill. Doorway breaks and Merc is still being watched. There's a drone on him. I don't think he sees it. Finally spots it. Expects a push through the main door. 3 members of Rogue right now, all looking in towards where Merc is playing. He lights up through the smoke, a pre-fire, doing a lot of damage. He's just going to continue to unload that carbine. He does heaps of damage to both Corey and Rise, but isn't able to find anything else. He softened up the remaining members of Rogue, or at least 2 of them for his team to fall back on. That's also the very first casualty for TSM in this matchup. This was a flawless round before.
Second Electrical did go onto that Garage panel. That's actually going to apply a lot of pressure to any attackers who get up close to the Garage window. Interestingly, it's a double reinforced Garage. So they put Merc on an island to die. And he died. But what that does mean is there's less pressure to Garage. Corey is going to fix that. Now, this is really big. The Electroclaw from Pochoman missed. It didn't get in a position where it could electrocute both panels. Because of that, Corey can open up the wall. Now, it's likely that Electroclaw would have been shot anyway if it was in the way for the attack, but you know, a little bit of time wasted maybe, I'm not sure. What we do know is that Rogue has the control they want. They have lost a lot of HP though. Here comes the utility dump, the last 30 seconds. They need to go for this push, but it looks like it might be a fake out with the first smoke. Corey will add to his kill tally as he eliminates Chiefs. Geo will get Aces though, because he's been playing down in Lounge. Looks like he won the fight against Aces, who is trying to push into Lounge to counter the C4 from below. Geo C4 misses, so does Bolos. A nice entry here from Corey. Hicks is actually gonna get one at the top of the stairs too. They have full site control. It's all on Geo to retake his own bomb site. He's got one player on low HP though, and he knows what the plant is going down, as is evident by the marks. Or he has to. There's the denial. Only 2 seconds to live. And he makes it. TSM take their second round off a beautiful play from Geo.
There are 3 members of Rogue left. Nobody is watching red stairs when you know there's a pulse down below. The C4 goes off right under Rise's nose. You know that there's a pulse still left on that board. Where is he going to come from? There's only 2 real places that you can imagine him getting into the site fast enough. Garage or top of red stairs, and Rogue has a total blind spot. Corey was situated inside a cache, watching the top of red stairs, and then he moves over for Hicks to go for the plant. That is a massive blunder from Rogue. There's no way to put it. You've got 3 people, Rise, Hicks, Corey. One's planting. You can watch 2 other entryways. Have one watch Garage. Have somebody watch over towards red stairs, especially with where Hicks chose to plant. Rogue blew that round.
Yeah, I don't know what it is. It could be one of 2 things. But what we do know is there's communication error on Rogue. The 2 things that it could be are either a lack of communication or too much communication, muddying comms and preventing efficient coordination. Because you're absolutely right, Parker. There really wasn't an option for the pulse other than Garage or stairs. With that little time on the board, Geo had to make a very specific play. Now, I want to take a look at Rogue's faces real quick, and I want to see if we can kind of, like, glean some information from this. Based on what we just saw in that last round, it looks like, and based on their faces now, it looks like it's lack of communication that is the problem. Because I'm not seeing too much, you know... oh, wow. Okay, well, interrupted by Merc in the first 20 seconds or so, getting the lead-off kill.
It's,
And it was on the ace.
I've watched this. I've watched TSM play long enough, and I hope that there can be some participation here, because I feel like there's a certain 2 letters that perfectly exemplify what Merc just did to Aces. And I'm struggling to remember that there's just 2 letters, so if you help me out.
You can make me say it?
No, you don't need to say. I mean, the people watching can quite happily say it. But anyway, there's 2 letters that I would think from Merc. Anyway, he gives a little kiss on the forehead to Aces, and he tucks him into bed for the rest of the round.
It's an important win there for Merc in that 1v1 spawn peak. Rips is going to eat some damage as he comes into garage. I don't even think he knows where the damage was from. It was through the wall. So there's information here from TSM. They know there's someone pressuring him through garage. Looks like they're going to fall back as the server wall gets opened up. Actually, Merc might stay. This is really ballsy, honestly, if Merc stays here. He does have Legion traps to assist him on the push.
Are there any Electroclaws helping him out, or were the Electroclaws used over on Jim the Master? That's what I want to know. Yeah, so he does not have any breach denial that will be assisting him.
One of the Electroclaws was used on server wall, but it was shot. And the other one's still in Pojoman's pocket.
And especially when you're doubling up with a Bandit and a Kaid on your team here. So
yeah.
Merc is, once again, just on an island to die, as you put it. Look at the clock, though. It just continuously runs against Rogue.
It doesn't really seem to matter. Merc is doing a great job of delaying here. Geo will go down. He was trying to assist Merc, I believe. And with him gone, that's going to be a really good kill for Rogue. They can actually make this round work for them. But they're all trying to clear cash still with a minute left in the round.
There goes Merc. He's in so much trouble. Loses a half of his HP to the very final Firebolt. He'll pre-fire and give his position away, gets traded off, Hicks is in. There was no coverage from the other side of Cash, so TSM having their own blind spot now that Rogue is able to exploit. And by taking advantage of that, it sets us up for a 4v3 with Rogue still at an advantage. There are Valkyrie cameras up to give calls if need be. Bolo is on low HP. That seems to be the state of affairs right now.
I think they're just trying to waste Rogue's time with those marks. That's the only reason I can make out for it, because they're not trying to C4 from below. They're probably just trying to make Rogue look for the camera. There's a nice kill from Pojoman as he gets an aggressive angle through the Jin window. Now the important thing to note here, guys, is there's only 20 seconds or so left here for the attack to execute onto the site. Now TSM is on low HP when it comes to Bolo and Pojo, but that's still not a lot of time.
There goes a C4 tossed out. He can get shot from construction. There it goes. Was that being just simply used for information? Iron Sight's achieved. He'll peek in. He's got 1 in front of him. Cannot get the Zofia. 2 for Pojoman. He'll need a 3rd, but it's Bolo there and Achieve with the down on to Rise earlier as TSM completing the cycle. That's a clean sweep on the very first rotation through these sites. A Church defense awaits. TSM as they're up 30-0 now in Clubhouse.
Does not bode well for Rogue when you have a 3-0 in the first half. On the defenders, typically are going to be favored, yes, on Clubhouse, but Jim is what is referred to as the low-hanging fruit of the bomb sites on this map. Tactical timeout called by Krapel, trying to instruct his team. A little bit of frustration on the side of Rogue is evident here in their faces, to be honest.
Yeah, I would not be happy with my performance if I was Rogue over these last 2 maps. You know, even if you go back to Consulate, there was 2 flawless rounds from TSM, a flawless round to start off Clubhouse. The frags from Rogue have been nowhere to be found.
Yeah, I mean, well, they were in... they were found in map 1, and then they disappeared. It's been an interesting match so far for Rogue. Again, it's really relevant that TSM managed to get defense first in this 3rd map. But I really do put a lot on the Thatcher ban being doubled down on by Rogue with a Maverick ban. I just think that that's going to cause so much headache for Rogue. The reason that causes headache is because now what you have to do is, yeah, you're going to bring both the Heart Destructors, but they're less likely to use their utility. And what you are going to be forced into is those bottlenecks. And Rogue typically, as you have stated, and you were right, Rogue typically are proficient at winning gunfights as the attacking team through bottlenecks.
Attackers need to locate and defuse
But it's not happening against TSM. It's just not happening. Not so far, at least.
Talked about the looks on the faces of the teammates on Rogue, and Group A and Group B were referred to as the groups, if you want to call it, of death, as there was no real clear-cut worst group. Both of them are just chock full of exceptionally talented teams. Group C and Group D, there is a bit of an imbalance where there are clear favorites among fans and clear favorites statistically in regards to which teams will likely advance in those 2 groups. The problem with going down in this matchup is you've got The best team in North America versus the best team in Europe, and the loser will have to play either Space Station, who are historically a tremendously strong team on LAN, and are also doing quite well in North American Pro League, versus Na'Vi, which also historically an exceptional team on LAN. They're the defending Pro League champions, and while they've had some significant struggles in EU Pro League, you can't write them off in a best-of-3 LAN environment. So it's not like if Rogue or if TSM loses, they have an easy day tomorrow. It is equally as tough. And that's why when you see Rogue playing, you come in here with all these expectations. They made it out of groups in Raleigh. They ended up playing fours, and they lost in what was a bit of a stunning matchup, if I'm being completely honest. Are they going to be able to upset TSM here? They find themselves down already. It is a Clubhouse defense for TSM, though, so not all hope is lost. You just have to maintain your composure. If the tactical timeout that was just taken from Rogue does that, then mission accomplished. But I think we can look back on the map we just played on Consulate and say that the timeout from Krapella that was taken at the end of the second round, when Rogue was down, was a bit too early.
Yeah, he's been using the timeouts aggressively. This time it was after the third win in a row for TSM. But that does mean that there's no real stop measure for Rogue. Impact run out here from Bolo, and here's the mark and the kill. That is what you get. You've got good information outside. I think that was a default cam. There's no Valkyrie. Was that a default cam? It might have been. Yeah, it was. That's a default cam that just allowed for that kill. Achieved, meanwhile, gonna get his third kill in this round, and it's suddenly all on Corey. There it is, a flawless round. Bolo gets a second, Achieved with 3, and there's laughter on the side of TSM. Pojo Man, he's laughing it up, and you know, and we know, and everyone's aware why Pojo Man's laughing. It's because Rogue didn't shoot a default cam.
All PojoMan.tsm, LOL. And he did it on Clubhouse, and I bet he did it in real life. He laughed out loud in real life, Michael. 4-0, safe to say that the timeout obviously not immediately paying dividends here for Rogue. And how deflating is it that you take a tactical timeout and then immediately lose that next round? Not just lose that next round, but you get picked apart and it's a flawless round. You're not even able to put one single kill up for your team.
I think the biggest thing, I'm gonna keep coming back to the fact that, okay, I want to really illustrate this for the people who are watching that maybe don't know much about Siege. So default cameras are cameras on the map that don't move or change in any way ever. And what you could do when you spawn is you shoot them immediately, pretty much. The outside ones, these cameras are very exposed. Everyone knows where they are. It's really easy to get them out of the way. And then one of the most...
They're on very large, you know...
Yeah, there's three outside.
Very large, very distinct, gleamingly white poles.
And the fact that one of them, the one outside front door, was not shot and allowed for Bolo to run out from front door to get a kill is just staggering at this level. There is a little bit of fluster on Rogue side. I think we can safely say that right now, because they are skipping steps in their attacks. So, TSM up 4-0. It's not over yet, though. Rogue has comeback potential, but as we stated earlier, they no longer have a tactical timeout. Oh. Valkyrie has been brought here from...
It's right at your feet.
Yeah, Valkyrie brought this round, so they're going to have a lot of information on side.
Yeah. Worst scoreline that you can see TSM emerge from now is a 4-2 on defense for Clubhouse. Very standard stuff, an extremely defender-sided map, so if you're a Rogue fan, do not necessarily be alarmed. I'd be more alarmed by the fact that, you know, there's been 2 flawless rounds. TSM is winning in every opening pick, except for now. Rogue is finally able to get something going. So...
they needed that.
Achieved runs out. He's got the information from the Valkyrie camera. We saw it was at the feet of the Capitao. Rise, obviously, is just a little bit better there. So, cash defense upstairs. If you are Rogue, you need to drone out that first floor and likely keep a Zofia down below underneath the cash wall to open it up. Last time, this was a round that Rogue probably should have won, but their poor coverage on red stairs allowed Geo to return to the site. Mind you, as a pulse. After a C4 had been expended, and get the kill to stop the defuse from going down. This time around, Geo's going to be playing a different operator. And TSM have changed things up. They're going to be investing in double hard breach denial. Merc still playing on that island, playing to die, as you put it. Up top, on the catwalk and garage.
If you can take one player with him, he's done his job. If you can take more time than has already been expended by Rogue, he's done his job and then some, because look at that. We're down to just about the last minute here, guys, and that's really poor efficiency for an attack. They haven't taken control of Garage yet. You can see that Merc is ready. He sees the shadows, goes for the pre-fire, misses the shot. Flash will full blind as the ADS has been cleared out, and some missed shots coming out here from Rips means that Merc is still alive, just barely. He's got control of his staircase. He's trying his best to challenge. IQ gives some position away. Oh my gosh, Merc just keeps wasting time. No kills, of course, but he's doing a great job.
Can somebody come to his rescue? That's going to be the real question. He's got 3 eyes from Rogue down below, 3 sets of eyes, no utility to deal with him now. And if they decide to box their way up those red stairs, you've got the Kaid watching of Pojo Man. This is still a lot of trouble for Merc as they just continuously tick away at him, but they wasted 40 seconds and Bolo is there just to take one of them down. So now Rogue have full control of Garage, but 25 seconds to be able to pull off that execute. They've got a single reinforced panel they'll have to confront yet again. The Kaid at the top of red stairs can be a difference maker, but Corey is just waiting ever so patiently for him to push. Great shot from Bolo, loses some HP. The wall will blow up and he'll have to head on back as it's now a retreat for TSM. There's one for Pojo Man onto Corey. The red stairs push does not pay off. C4 goes. It connects onto Rips. He'll have to go for the plant, but no, Bolo, 3 huge kills. And it's 5-0 for TSM over Rogue.
A big round there for Bolo. I think a 4K in total, 3 at the end there, as you stated. And just absolutely fantastic hold. Bolo did a couple things that were crucial in that round. Okay, yes. First of all, I really got to give a commendation to Merc. He wasted almost the entire round in Garage when he had no recourse, no way to fall back. He did his job and then some. So props to Merc, big time. So that forces Rogue to rush. But here's the big thing. Bolo gets a pick after Merc is eliminated. He pushes aggressively onto Garage and then falls back. He plays passive. He knows he needs to stay alive. The second kill that Bolo gets, he hears the Excaros going off on the catwalk wall, and he knows that if he can make an aggressive play on the window before the wall gets opened up, he's going to be able to win that very easily because it's just a window. He only needs to challenge one angle. And he wins that gunfight, gets another kill for himself. And then Bolo, very smart, lost a lot of HP. He falls back to Cash because he's got C4, and there's only a few seconds left in the round, thanks to Merc. He knows he's got that C4, he just needs to delay and use it to get the next kill, which he does beautifully, as Rogue is forced to rush into the site and into Bolo's C4. Then the last kill just happens to be somebody peeking wide while Bolo's in the right place and the right time. Bolo, a great round. Excellent job to him. Pojo Man as well, saved it. The push up the staircase, that could have ended the round if Pojo hadn't won that gunfight. Someone coming up the staircase and flanking Bolo, flanking the rest of the defense on the site of Cash, that could have just been detrimental to TSM's hold. But Pojo Man stops that cold in its tracks. So Merc, Bolo, and Pojo. Beautiful round from them.
Really, really well played. Really good hold from TSM. A lot of patience. They made the right rotates after Merc killed all that time. And honestly, that's one of the things where it's like there's no stat that really goes to show how important Merc was in that round for his team. His ability to take 40 some odd seconds off of the clock, making it so that Rogue didn't have time to pull off a full execute onto that garage wall. They didn't have time to be able to push in and go for a plant. They didn't have time to push from construction. There's so much that can be said about the way that Merc played that and enabled the rest of the team to capitalize off of that great time management from Merc and the poor time management from Rogue. Now, as we are looking at a Gym Master defense, same thing as before. It's a heavy investment from the defense upstairs inside of Cache and CCTV.
I want to quickly highlight that the drone overlay is not flawless. As you saw, a drone was just destroyed. There's no X on any of the drones on the attacking side, so it's a little bit...
Yes, there is the API, whatever you want to call it, etc., is not perfect.
It's not done.
It just showed that Aces actually lost a drone and then it went right back, so...
So yeah, I mean, I'm sure as time plays out, we'll see that fixed. This is the first display of this new UI, so keep that in mind. The wall into Cache getting opened up. Merc is going to have to fall back, and he's going to do that happily. As you look at that, half the round already wasted. At the top of the server stairs is going to be Achieved, who is eliminated by Rise. So Rogue, a good clear there.
Methodical clear out from Rogue, expending limited utility in order to take a big and sizable piece of map control away from TSM. Now, as the rest of Rogue will go on to drone, they've got a minute to go. It's a Gym Master take. So they've got about half of that second floor that they want. There's still more work to be done. Rise steps into a Guma, and he was very low on HP. There's no point indicator, so you don't necessarily know that you've got a down at this point, but Rise will now still be back at 10 HP. Ace is also very low.
What TSM does know is that they've only got to hold out for 40 more seconds, and yeah, they're a man down, but they had to have known that they've done some damage to some of the players on Rogue. Interestingly, Aces has no kills so far through this match.
The biggest struggle with Rogue the last time they attacked Gym Master was, once again, they just had to funnel through those narrow doorways. They did not have any time to carve out the site the way they wanted. A stun inside of Logistics gives a position away, but a great crossfire held by Bolo will find a single kill for his team, but then Rogue has the trade. Merc in position, he gets the vault on in through the gym. Down goes Corey, another vault in, there's Merc with 2. Pivots, cannot grab a third, Aces will be better, picking up his kills, but the first half for TSM, perfect. 6-0 match point, series point.
An absolutely huge round from TSM. Merc and Bolo, once again, the standouts there as they put their heads together and hold all of the bottlenecks between them. That's a really impressive job there. And not to mention Pojo, who had at the back kept all of those bottlenecks really sealed up nice and airtight. Beautiful job for TSM, a flawless half. And while, yes, this is a defender-sided matchup overall, you still don't see that very often. We didn't see it in the first 2 maps. So in map number 3, over the next 6 rounds, TSM needs but win a single round to win this series overall.
Must be heartbreaking for somebody of Ace's caliber, because you look at map number 1 and he puts on an absolute clinic.
Oh, wow. Was it 18, 17 kills?
But then after map 1, everybody likes to ask, when does Bolo play? I think in maps 2 and 3, you could conceivably ask, when does Aces play? Because play he has not.
He did get 2 kills in that last round.
He has not been that big of a difference maker, at least not what you expect him to. Now, whether it's TSM shutting him down, I don't necessarily think that's the case. It's just, it's not...
It happens.
It's not where you want to be, I suppose. And
sometimes you're in wrong time, wrong place. You know, it does happen. I mean, the biggest thing, one of the biggest strengths we've always talked about of the highest level teams in Siege is that each of their players can step up and be that player. And we saw it from TSM. Map number 2, who was it? Was it Bolo? No, it was Geo. I mean,
now Bolo is 11-1.
Yeah, and it's not Geo anymore. But that doesn't mean Geo's playing bad.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean that he's in the wrong. It's wrong time, wrong place. It happens.
Look, people that take jokes about players and stuff like that, seriously, I don't know what to say to them. Obviously, we are not openly condemning a player like Aces.
Of course.
The people that say that, I mean, you don't...
Aces is one of the nuttiest players in
one of the best players in the world right now, in terms of just about everything. So
you look at his stats; they speak for themselves.
It is not a single performance. This whole team right now of Rogue through 2 maps has dramatically underperformed, but Rise has been quite consistent throughout.
Rise has actually been playing really well.
He has been having a banger of a game, and he will get the opening pick for Rogue.
So, similar to TSM, Rogue will go for a roam strategy on the basement here. We'll see how that works out. Now, it's not over for Rogue, of course. They could win, 6 rounds in a row and then win OT, which is going to be difficult.
I mean, how many 6-0s have we seen? I mean, we just saw one. I think that alone is pretty tough to imagine.
And we could see another, but unlikely. Rice has gotten 2 kills in this round at least, and Merc's going to flash himself. Timing the flashes is hard in this game, to be honest. It's sometimes very difficult, because you count from the 1 second when you throw instead of the 1 second when it hits. That's a difficult bit.
Merc finds the kill on Rise anyway, as the Jaeger decides to peek again. Maybe not exactly what he needed or wanted, but they end up losing the Jaeger, and Merc is capitalizing off of that.
Yeah. So he'll get the counting method down for throwing flashes later. For now, he's got the kill. He will be eliminated by Aces, though, who's starting to come alive, it seems. The last 2 rounds, he's gotten all of his kills. Pojo Man trying to enter into the kitchen. Maybe open up the drop down. It's likely electrocuted, or even being impact tricked. Either way, I don't think he's going to be able to get that open.
I think Aces was trying to get an impact over, but he takes so much damage, and it's a missed opportunity from Bolo, who could have picked up his 10th kill.
The drop down seems will be opened though. Second time is the charm, as the Aces is not going to try again for an impact trip. Even if he had the impacts, he's not got enough HP to make a crossover from Bolo. That's a lot of damage incurred there from just some Legion Traps, and he's going to continue to not check and incur even more damage from 4 total Legion Traps now. 5 Legion Traps puts Bolo at 50 HP, and the gas canisters are going to chip away with the C4 to add to it. Bolo doesn't get to play the round, and now it's all on Pojo Man, who is eliminated by Aces.
That is just a terrible spot to be in. A terrible spot to be in. You hit 5 goo mines, there's a toxic canister in front of you, and you get C4'd. At that point, it's just like, put me out of my misery. At that point, you know?
The C4 did it, but it's, wow, it was a lot of torture.
Yep. And it was Aces getting the last laugh after Bolo had almost taken Aces out. Did so much damage. But no, that was a very conventional hold with the exception of the aggressive roaming Jaeger. Everything else from Rogue seemed to be, 1 to 2 inside of Church to Blue, 1 in the back of Armory, and then you had Rise running amok upstairs, and TSM fell short of being able to drone them out. On Clubhouse, TSM plays up against North American teams that routinely roam on that second and first floor when defending the basement. TSM should have been a little bit more proficient at being able to find out where the members of Rogue were. They did not do that. And on top of that, you lose Geo. Not that the Capital would have been a major difference maker, because you think about the fact that Moto and Church are going to be Electroclawed off. You don't have to, or Moto and Blue are going to be Electroclawed off. You don't have to worry about playing there and getting firebolted. But if you're playing behind that generator down in Blue, and you have a Capital at the top of Blue stairs, the firebolt is going to flush you out. And somebody will be waiting. They might be at Oil Pit. Somebody might be waiting at the end of Blue as well. So that changes some small things. But ultimately, Rise wins them that round with the 2 picks right at the start.
So, cash defense next for Rogue. They're going to fully reinforce their garage, unlike what TSM did. So actually, in retrospect, by the way, I know why TSM didn't fully reinforce both of the panels. It was because they diverted one of those reinforcements to double reinforce the top garage wall by the rafters, so that when the clear came in from Rogue, TSM didn't need to worry about that rotation being there. Rogue's not going to do that. They're going to open up the rotation. They're much more conventional hold here from Rogue. I gotta say, I don't really know if there's like a better style. I think it's just kind of preference. Ooh, is that an Electroclaw? Was that? Yeah, that was an Electroclaw trick there from Hicks. He left it unelectrocuted so that the Excaros would get set and then placed as soon as he heard the Excaros get set, thus allowing them not to, well, thus disallowing them getting detonated. There's also an Electroclaw interesting up on the rafters. That's quite a depth of a hold there from Hicks.
Really well played.
Yeah.
I mean, you've still got the Hibana as your added insurance if you need it, so it's not dire that you lost one of those exothermic charges.
Excaros.
Or Excaros, apologies. So it's definitely still doable.
Yeah. It's not ideal, is all. Now we've got Jacuzzi wall nice and open here for TSM. They're going to be able to use this to push towards construction. This is going to be a pincer strategy from TSM. What they're going to do is they are going to open up the server wall, which they've already accomplished. They're going to kill Rise in the middle of the main stairs. Great kill there from Bolo. Good awareness to check for that, because it hadn't been dropped out. And then they're going to open up this construction wall, if possible. Now, there is a bandit in play, and Aces is tricking the wall. There's also a Maestro Evil Eye inside of construction. There is also a Electroclaw, I believe, in the pocket of Hicks. If he still got that, he could even rotate up and help. So it's going to be difficult to open this wall. That's just definitive. But TSM can make it happen with the utility they have in hand.
There goes the Evil Eye inside of construction. 1 minute left to play with. And TSM still need to be able to take control of cash. They haven't been able to do it just yet. There's a call waiting to be had for Achieve down below as he uses some utility, maybe to try to stun somebody.
With the bandit, yeah.
Does it do anything? No, no. Aces is able to get away. He scampers off. He uses an outside rotate. There's still a minute to go.
He managed to deny the bandit tricking using that lifeline. That was really impressive. I thought he was going to go for an explosive play. Often people do. It's like you double impact and you kill the bandit, but he just wanted to deny him tricking at all.
That was unfortunate timing there, and a C4 will make it even worse for Bolo as Hicks ends the young gunner. It's another one for TSM, though, as they regain the lead, burn some ADSs, and try to just go on through. Now, there's Electricaw doing some phantom damage. And going down from Pojo Man. Nobody seems any the wiser. Great coverage from TSM. 2-2, and the diffuser goes down. It's achieved in Pojo, with Corey holding the match on the line, and the objective play from TSM might have just put this match out of reach for Rogue. You got the timer at the top. Beautifully played by Corey. He'll gun down achieved. Pojo Man at 75 HP versus Corey at full HP. And what are you going to do? The smoke. No utility, no nothing. If Pojo peeks, he's doomed. But no, Corey will take the fight. Slowly through the doorway, sees the Hipana. Doesn't do any damage to Pojo. No, Pojo's still up, is he? Yeah. He is indeed, and Pojo comes on in. Corey's defusing. Pojo needs to hurry. And there you go. He'll get the clutch. The Canadian on Canadian soil, and TSM will advance to tomorrow at the top of their group. Rogue still alive, but they play the loser of SSG versus Na'Vi.
TSM with a confident victory there in the last map of this best of 3. And after map number 1, Rogue just wasn't there. They certainly had a great map number 1. I think that we can all say that indisputably Aces was alive and well, getting more kills than anyone else got in this whole series in that one map. But there was nothing else. Map number 2, map number 3 was all TSM.
Yeah. Rogue, unfortunately, only able to put together 3 rounds after that dominating first performance. That's not even good enough for half needed for an actual victory. So there's obviously some work for Rogue to do. Their job doesn't get any easier, though, because depending on what happens in the Space Station versus Na'Vi game that's going on the other stream right now, there's still a formidable opponent for Rogue, and the loser of that matchup goes home. Rogue realizes that another misstep tomorrow and their trip through the Six Invitational is done early, and the #1 team in Europe's bid for even a championship, let alone making it out of groups, gets narrower by the day. For TSM, some celebratory, I guess, afternoon shenanigans, but lots of prep work as well, because they want to be going out of their group first overall.
What an impressive match overall. And I, for one, am excited to see how TSM plays moving forward.
It wasn't quite the close match that we expected. It was an utter...
It was close in some ways, but it was like kind of rigid, really, because it was so defensive-sided, really.
I mean, it was really an utter dismantling by TSM. Those 2 maps were not even close, and then the first map was not even close either. It was a very strange skirmish, I would say, between these teams. The first map, TSM didn't look good in almost any of the rounds that they won.
Yeah.
And then on the second and third map, Rogue was closer than I think TSM was, but they still fell way short.
The way that I would describe it is that TSM were a little shaky map number 1. They were just starting to get their sea legs, I guess is the way you could put it, starting to get acclimated to LAN. And then in map number 2 and map number 3, they built their confidence. And once the TSM's train started in this series, it just didn't stop all the way up until the end.
Yeah, you have to work out the shakes. You know, you could see it on their faces. They were not very happy. The body language, the way that they were talking to each other after that first map was not exactly where you want to be as a team. But they were able to get it under control.
It was the same for Rogue and map 2 and 3. They started to get a lot more shaky. But let's take a look at the bracket. Let's go over what just happened and what we're waiting to happen here in this group.
So Na'Vi and Space Station, as you can see, are all tied up. They were playing on Consulate for their second map as well. They're now in the tiebreaker, so that's going on the other stream. If you're waiting for more action, we are not doing a rolling schedule. So for people who don't know what that means, it means that we are adhering to the actual timeline. So the next matchup is going to be coming at 1 p.m. Eastern. Feel free to do the work to convert that time zone for yourself. But we'll be back at 12:50 for the pre-show, which is in roughly about half an hour, give or take. Mm-hmm. So you know that you can take a break. Rogue, as you can see, are in the elimination match. TSM will await the victor of the SSG Na'Vi matchup. Will it be an all-NA semifinal in this group? Will we see Na'Vi, the defending champions, manage to get the edge in that third map against SSG? I mean, we haven't been watching the matchups. That's actually the one thing that sucks about casting.
We
the
can't
Six
watch
Invitational,
all of it.
Is that we don't get to watch the Six Invitational.
We have to go back.
That's
on
the only downside.
Yeah, I'm going to be checking what's happened here during the time between now and 12:50 EST, which we actually have a decent chunk of time.
We have a decent chunk of time, indeed. So that's our very first matchup here on the Bravo stream. Thanks for tuning in. We'll be back with BDS versus Wildcard after this break.